We are back from Apple.
Hey, Ducks fans, all season long, the Ducks and Pete Richardson are teaming up to bring you the Whistle Player.
Oh, welcome to Fairfield Properties Ballpark in central Islip, Long Island, as the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs and the Long Island Ducks about to square off for Game 2 of this three-game set. The Blue Crabs lost 11-8 yesterday, did not look good across the first 8 innings. They did put up 7 runs in the 9th, but it was too little, too late. They did have the tying run at the plate as they got to Nick Trapacki, who was the Ducks reliever. Tyler Webb also struggled a little bit, allowing a double to score another couple of runs. But the Blue Crabs fell short 11-8. Just 5 games to go in the Blue Crabs regular season schedule. We'll run you through the starting lineup, and then we will toss to an interview with Santiago Chirino, the newest member of the Blue Crabs roster. Well, let's stick with me for this, as it's Jack Sundberg who will lead things off for Southern Maryland. He's in left field. It's Michael Wolanski who bats second. He's at second base. Jared Walker bats third. He's in right field tonight. The first time he gets a start in right field this season. Meanwhile, David Harris is the cleanup hitter. He's also the designated hitter tonight. Joe DeLuca, he bats fifth. He's at first base. Zach Collier bats sixth. He's in center field. Santiago Chirino finds himself in the 7 spot. He's at third base. While Ryan Haug bats eighth. He's doing the catching. And Michael Baca bats ninth. He is at shortstop. Blue Crabs pitcher tonight, it's Alex Marathew. He goes up against Scott Harkin. Well, your umpires tonight, Mike Williams behind the plate. Joe Iglio is at first. And Michael Herring is at third base. The Blue Crabs just acquired Santiago Chirino earlier in the week on Monday, as they had their final day. They had to get their postseason roster in and made the move at the last moment. But Santiago Chirino, acquired by the Blue Crabs, he's going to be at third base tonight. We had a chance to catch up with him before the game. Oh, we're live from Long Island, just ahead of Game 2 between the Long Island Ducks and the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. We're hitting the tail end of the season. We're glad to be joined by the newest Blue Crab, Santiago Chirino. Santiago, thanks for coming on the pregame show.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, man.
All right, well, let's jump right on in here. Let's get the fans to get to know you a little bit better and sort of your story. So you grow up in Venezuela. You just told me moments ago you played in the Little League World Series. How did that come about?
Yeah, my parents, since I was on the belly, my dad said to my mom that I'm going to be a baseball player. My first year, I was dressed up as a baseball player. So since I was 4 years old, I started playing baseball, Little League. And when I was 15, I went to the Little League World Series, Senior League, and Bangor, Maine. We lost the final against Georgia, but it was a really great experience. And then at that time, that's when the Rangers were looking at me and my stats. I was the MVP on the Latin America tournament, so they called my family, my mom, and start talking like they're following me and everything that I'm doing the next couple of years, because it's the time that I can sign. And then when I was 16, I signed with the Rangers, went to Dominican to play my first year. I went to extended in America and Arizona the same year, and then the next year I went to spring training. I started in rookie league for, I think, 10 games, and then somebody got hurt in low A, and I got promoted. I played the rest of the season in high A. I had a really good season. And then after that, I moved up to high A. I didn't play low A. I played high A a couple years. And then I got released. And then I enjoyed the Corn Belters for my first year as a professional and independent baseball. And I played 6 years for them. Then I moved to the Canaan League. I played 1 year with the Jackals in the Canaan League. We won that year. And then the Canaan League merged to the Frontier League. And then I played 2 more years with the Jackals, but on the Frontier League.
Right. I know Matt Latos played with the Jackals. Did you ever overlap with him?
No, he played with the Jackals a year before I played there. But he knows my manager from the Jackals. And I played with Davey Harris on 19 when we won in the Canaan League. I played with Michael Baca in 18 with the Corn Belters. So I've been in the game long enough to know some people, you know.
Well, it's nice that you know some of the guys on this team. You don't have to start all the way from scratch. But what has the experience been like moving from the Can-Am League and then to the Frontier League and now joining the Blue Crabs after spending the whole year with the Jackals?
Yeah, you know, it's baseball. Since I'm a kid, I love to play the game, you know, and this is every day when I'm on a baseball field, I'm happy, and this is what I do, you know. This is what I've been learning to do in my life, you know. And since last year that I have my kid, I talked to my wife and I said that I want to play a couple more years to my kid grew up watching me play, you know, so it can be an inspiration for him, even if he plays baseball or not, but he can see how hard we work for our goals, you know what I'm saying? And that's huge in life. So that's my goal right now. I'm very happy to be here with the Blue Crabs. You know, it's baseball. I'm trying to give my 100% every time I'm on a baseball field. It don't matter what team. This is a business, and whoever that I play for, I'm gonna give my 100%. And now that we're in the playoff and in this situation, I'm gonna try to win that ring. You know, I'm trying to give everything that I have to make the team better and trying to win that ring.
Well, let's talk about that playoff run in just a moment. I want to talk a little bit more about you as a player. You play at third base tonight. Is that your favorite spot in the infield? Or is there one position in the infield where you feel most comfortable?
Well, I've been playing shortstop the past 6 years in the Frontier League and Canaan League, and then before that I played 3 years as a second baseman. I played third base in minor leagues. I played second base in minor leagues. I played shortstop in minor leagues. I played outfield in minor leagues. I played third. The last time that I played third base was in Winter League in 2019. Okay. And yeah, we won that year in Panama. It was a good year, you know. And you know, I'm excited. It don't matter what I'm playing. I just want the opportunity to be on the field and be on the lineup, you know, and trying to do my thing.
So we're at third base tonight. I want to talk about your abilities at the plate, though. If you look at your baseball reference numbers, it's 8 consecutive years, 7 in the Frontier League, 1 in the Can-Am League where you've hit 300 or better. Do you see yourself as a top-level contact hitter? Is that what you look at yourself as at the plate?
Yes, one of my things when I'm hitting it is trying to put the ball in play, you know. When you put the ball in play, you got more opportunities to be on base, you know, by errors, by anything, you know, you can be on base, but this is what one coach told me this: when you strike out, you go to the dugout, nothing happened, you know. But if you hit the ball, even if it's soft, even if you hit it anywhere, you have a chance. You're giving to your team a chance to be on base and create something, create a rally for the inning, you know. And basically, that's what I've been doing in my career on the independent baseball as a second hole, you know, in the lineup. I'm trying to move the runners for the big guys, and you know, I'm not trying to do too much. I'm always trying to keep things short. I'm trying to do my thing. I'm trying to play the baseball that I know, try not to change anything, you know. And it's been working, you know. It's been working the past 8 years, 7 years. I've been putting a lot of work into on the winter, you know. But also, when you do what you love, you know, you work hard for it, things will go to your way better, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. And let's talk now about the final 5 games of the season. 2 here on Long Island, and it looks like we're only going to play 3 against Lancaster this weekend. And then it's time for the playoffs. What's the mentality? What's your mentality more specifically moving down the stretch here?
Well, right now, trying to take as many at-bats I can this next 5 games, you know, because I finished my season like a week and a half. I need to take as many at bats so I can be back on my swing and my timing. And the playoff, not trying to do, anything crazy. I'm trying to play the game right, trying to play my defense. I think playoff is always about, like, pitching and defense, Everyone, we can hit and all that, but I think if you want to win games in the playoff, is about pitching and defense. So I'm trying to do the best that I can on the field and trying to beat on base. What I say, I'm trying to be on base and create chances, create chances every time that I get on base and trying to score some runs. That's how we're going to win some games.
Awesome. Well, let's go on to our next segment. This is the trivia question segment. And I had an initial trivia question that I was going to ask you, but I just thought of a new one during our interview here, and we're going to change it up a little bit. We said that you have a 300 batting average now for 8 consecutive years. In Major League Baseball, what's the most consecutive seasons that a batter has hit 300?
I would say, I think it's 11.
11 straight years?
I think it's 11 straight years.
Do you have a player in mind here?
No, but it have to be a long timer, or either Miguel Cabrera, he's close to there, or Albert Pujols. That's my 2 guesses because I grew up watching them. You know what I'm saying? But there is more players, But I think it's a long timer.
A long time ago, going 11 straight seasons when a player hit 300 for every single one of those seasons. All right. I think that's fair. I'm not sure what the answer is. I'm going to have to look it up. So we'll answer the question in the broadcast. I'll find the answer for you once we're done here with the interview. I want to go into the Your Opinion segment now. So you played in, you said, the Frontier League and the Can-Am League. You're now playing in the Atlantic League for the first time. We've asked a few of our players if there should be sort of like a Champions League for independent ball. They have this for soccer over in Europe. They have this for hockey where the top teams from a lot of the different leagues come together and play. Would you like to have a situation where maybe the top team from the Frontier League, top team from maybe the Pioneer League, and the top maybe 3 or 4 from the American Association, the top teams here in the Atlantic League come and compete? Would you be in favor of a sort of independent Champions League tournament?
Yes, I think it's a pretty cool idea. The only thing it will change is because in the other leagues, the classifications for players, and right. Most of some of the other leagues are a lot of more younger players than this league, So some leagues will have the advantage of it, you know what I'm saying? But I think, like, if they want to do a tournament like that and talk about it, they can make a selection after the season and get, the people better on the league and then trying to compete against the other league. I think it will be a good tournament and people can see what's the best league and for independent baseball in America too. That will be cool.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. A couple guys for the Blue Crabs now playing overseas. Would you ever like to have the opportunity to represent your country? 4 guys from the Blue Crabs this year playing for Team Great Britain. It's a pretty cool opportunity for them.
Yeah, I think that's one of my dreams to represent my country. But also from the country that I'm from, it's a little harder because there's a lot of players in the MLB, right. And they're going to play for that team. So you have to be competing with superstars, basically. But, I'm still playing. You never know. Baseball, it's up and down. So I would love to play for my country, and I would love to play on that tournament. But right now, I'm here. Right now I'm here, and I'm ready to play this 5 game in the playoff.
One last question here. This is our last Your Opinion question here. And it is, there's been questions right now around the MLB as to whether they should shorten the season, whether they should keep it at 162 games, or what they should exactly do. Some people said they should only play 100 games, only play 120. How long should the Major League Baseball season be? Do you think 162? Do you think it's something shorter? What's the magic number there?
Hey, I think 162 games is a lot. I played before on a league that it was 142, and it was a lot of games, Also, if you short the games down, the records, it will be impossible to break and all that kind of stuff, But I think less game. I would say 120, it will be a good amount of games to play on a season, plus playoffs. So playoff is a little earlier, right. So people can watch it and not wait till it's cold out, and then players can play a little better because it's not as cold.
the other thing that people were saying was you have more off days if you play fewer games. So instead of playing 6 games a week, maybe you play 5 games a week, which means the stars play more. You don't have to worry about, oh, is Mike Trout going to play today? Is Aaron Judge going to be in the lineup, or is it a day off for him? Because players get days off because there are more days off during the course of a schedule as opposed to playing every single day. And some people think that's going to increase viewership and increase, more fans, especially younger fans. Do you think that's right, that it would increase, viewership for fewer games?
Yes, I think that's right. I think shorten games down. I think people will watch more games because it's not going to be as long. Sometimes 162 games is hard to follow. I think less games, it will make it a little more interesting. I will say too that I would like to be less games, but I would like to more teams on the playoff. So
right.
make a bigger playoff round, and more teams can enjoy it. And
how many teams are you looking for?
They say it's 32 teams, so I will say 30 teams. So I would say to 12.
12 teams. Okay.
12, I think, is a good amount.
Right.
It will be more opportunities for other teams, and I think it's gonna be fun to watch, like the Big Ten for basketball and
right.
college. It's a big tournament that people watch it. If you make a big tournament like that for playoff, like a huge more with more teams, more fans, I think it will be better for baseball.
All right, Santiago, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks. Well, you got to hear a little bit from the Blue Crabs' newest player, Santiago Chirino, who is at third base tonight. Let's run through the Ducks starting lineup. We'll take you around the defensive alignment for both teams as well. As it's Sue Lin who leads off for the Ducks. Trevor Achenbach bats second. Alejandro De Aza back in the lineup. He bats third. LJ Mazzilli is the cleanup hitter for the Ducks tonight. Jose Sermo bats fifth. It's Carlos Castro in the sixth spot. And Dustin Woodcock bats seventh. Joe DiCarlo back behind the plate for back-to-back nights as Vladimir Frias closes out the order, batting ninth. Scott Harkin will get the start for the Long Island Ducks. Now around the diamond defensively for the Blue Crabs, it's Sundberg in the left, the center fielder Zach Collier, the right fielder Jared Walker. At third base, it's Santiago Chirino. Over at shortstop, Michael Baca. The second baseman is Michael Wolanski. The first baseman is Joe DeLuca. It's Ryan Haug who's doing the catching for Alex Merrithew. Let's take you through the Blue Crabs starting lineup as we'll get underway in just a couple of minutes. You have the national anthem that's coming up next. It's Jack Sundberg who leads things off. Michael Wolanski bats second. Jared Walker in the 3 spot tonight as he bats third. Braxton Lee out of the lineup. Walker had 4 hits and was 4 for 5 last night. Harris is the cleanup hitter while Joe DeLuca bats fifth. Zach Collier in the 6th spot while Santiago Chirino bats 7th. Batting 8th, it's Ryan Haug, while the 9th hitter is Michael Baca. Defensively for the Ducks, in left field, it's LJ Mazzilli. The center fielder is Alejandro De Aza. Out in right field tonight, it's Dustin Woodcock. In the infield, at third base, Vladimir Frias. The shortstop is Sue Lin. The second baseman, I should say, is Trevor Achenbach. At first base, it's Jose Sermo. And Joe DiCarlo is doing the catching for Scott Harkin. Your umpires today, Mike Williams behind home plate. Joe Iglio is at first, and Michael Herring is at third base. The pitching matchup tonight, it's Alex Merrithew who comes in 7-3 with a 3.77 earned run average. Last time out, 5 innings of work, allowed 3 hits, no runs, no walks. He struck out 4. While Scott Harkin is 10-7, a 4.55 earned run average. 5 innings, 9 hits, 3 runs, a walk, and 3 strikeouts in his last outing. Blue Crabs enter play 81-45, 33-27 here in the second half, while the Long Island Ducks are 62-65. And 26-35 in the second half. We will step aside briefly for the national anthem. When we come back, it's time for the first pitch here on Long Island. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome your 2022.
This is Darryl Thompson, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Who will honor the United States of America with the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And last but not least, charging in down.
Under sunny skies on Long Island, it's time for Game 2 of this three-game set. The Blue Crabs look to pick up some wins prior to the start of the postseason. Just 5 games remaining, as it seems likely the Blue Crabs will not play the doubleheader now against Lancaster, since the Barnstormers have already clinched, and that game would not have any additional repercussions on playoffs. So we'll just play 3 in Lancaster. We'll play 2 more here on Long Island, and that'll do it for the regular season. Then it's time for the playoffs, as the Blue Crabs will be in Lancaster on both Tuesday and Wednesday of next week for games 1 and 2 before returning home on Friday to take on the Barnstormers. Well, Sundberg restraps his batting gloves, and he digs in from the left side. Scott Harkin is ready. Sundberg is ready. The first pitch, swinging a high fly ball, well struck, rather deep to center field. It's Steaza back in front of the warning track where he makes the catch in front of the PC Richard & Son sign in right center field. One pitch, one well-struck ball, and one out here in the top of the first inning.
Second baseman, number 12, Michael Wolanski.
And here comes Michael Wolanski, who bats second, the former Long Island Duck, who just did not receive enough playing time on Long Island. Not sure Wally Backman and company really realized what they had. They had a special player who played both AA and AAA last year. First pitch called strike, count 0-1. What the Blue Crabs, he's shown what he's able to do. He's hit .280 with Southern Maryland, hit his 6th home run of the year last night. 0-1's upstairs, count 1 ball and 1 strike. Numbers for Michael Wolanski on the season with the Blue Crabs, a .280 batting average, a .400 on base, as the 1-1 pitch is low and in, count 2-1. And an .866 OPS. Very good number right there. He'll be followed by Jared Walker. Pitch, line drive, well struck to left field, but it is right at the Ducks left fielder. That's L.J. Mazzilli, who doesn't have to move more than a couple of steps and makes the catch shoulder high for the second out. So 2 up and 2 down from the Long Island Ducks starter, Scott Harkin. The righty will face off against the lefty, Jared Walker, who bats third tonight. Walker's been batting 7th and 8th most recently, as Southern Maryland has opted not to move the 5 and 6 hitters around very much. It's been David Harris who has been established in that cleanup spot, but with Braxton Lee out of the lineup, the 3-hitter more in question. Pitch that's fouled back in the count 0-1. And Blue Crabs are a little concerned about where Braxton Lee is as far as his availability moving down the stretch. Trying to play through a couple of things. And the 0-1 pitch, swinging a high fly ball. This one belted to deep right center field. Back to the warning track at the wall. That ball's gone. Solo home run for Jared Walker, who picks up right where he left off yesterday. Had a 4-for-5 game, a couple of doubles and a triple, and he hits the home run tonight. And the Blue Crabs have a 1-0 lead in the top of the first inning. He sails that ball over the Chisella sign in right center. And the Blue Crabs have hit 2 balls really well tonight. One off the bat of Jack Sundberg that didn't quite make it out of the ballpark. Probably hit that ball 375 feet. This one does get out of the ballpark. This one might have been hit 400 off the bat of Jared Walker. Well, it's David Harris who comes to the plate with 2 outs in the top of the first inning. 1-0 Blue Crabs after the solo home run from Jared Walker. Harris has been hot and cold recently. Had a couple of home runs. We'll get there in just one moment as the pitch is low and the count 1 ball and no strikes. In his last home series, and then matched Jared Walker's 16 home run total, which was tied for the team lead until moments ago. Pitch is fouled back, count 1-1 against the York Revolution last weekend. But 0-for-5 yesterday. So the home run's coming, but he'll have some of those games where he goes 0-for. Last night was one of them. 0-for-5, he did score a run. As the 1-1 pitch, line drive foul, first base side, count 1-2. Scored the run on the error made out in right field by Carlos Castro, who is the designated hitter tonight. Castro robbed a home run. And the pitch, swinging a line drive into right field. It's a base hit. Jared Walker hit a solo home run, and now a base hit for David Harris. Back-to-back hits for the Blue Crabs. A 1-0 lead for Southern Maryland.
For the Blue Crabs, first baseman, number 10, Joe DeLuca.
And here comes Joe DeLuca with 2 outs in the top of the first. 1-0 Southern Maryland. DeLuca digs in. He bats 5th tonight. He'll be followed by Zach Collier if necessary in the 6th spot. He's been struggling a little bit. Batting average down to 259 as the pitch is low and the count 1 ball and no strikes. 1-0 Southern Maryland, courtesy of a solo shot from Jared Walker. As Scott Harkin has now found himself in a bit of trouble. 3 pretty hard hit balls against the first 4 batters here in the first inning. Even Michael Wolanski struck the ball rather well. Pitch, that's low, and the count 2 balls and no strikes. DeLuca, the switch hitter, bats from the left side. Here's the 2-0. Check swing, did he go? No, he did not. And the pitch missed a little bit outside according to the home plate umpire, Mike Williams. So the count 3 balls and no strikes on DeLuca. Well, after a long fly out from Sundberg and a line out from Wolanski, 3-0 pitch is a called strike, count 3-1. A solo shot, a single, and now behind in the count 3-1. So Harkin struggling with 3 consecutive batters. Three-one pitch. Called strike two. Count 3 balls and 2 strikes. Full count now on Joe DeLuca here on the top of the first inning. DeLuca cleans off his bat. Short lead for Harris off of first base. Here's the 3-2. Swinging a ground ball. This one up the middle for a base hit. Past the outstretched reach of Trevor Achenbach. Harris trots into third base as the runners go first to third. It's a single for Joe DeLuca, and the Blue Crabs continue to rally here in the top of the first inning.
Center fielder, number 8.
And here comes
Collier.
Zach Collier. Well, just to give you an idea of how hard some of the balls have been hit today, Sundberg's fly ball was hit. They marked it down as just 355 feet. It looked deeper than that. And 96 miles per hour. 104 miles an hour off the bat of Jared Walker on the home run, and 101 off the bat of Joe DeLuca on the base hit. First pitch is away to Zach Collier, and the count 1-0. Only one that wasn't hit all that hard was the line drive off the bat of Wolanski at 77 miles an hour. 1-0 pitch, breaking ball misses away, and now for Scott Harkin, falling behind in back-to-back counts. You might not be walking batters, but when you're forced to throw pitches over the heart of the plate because you have 3 balls, it puts you in a tough spot, and you're going to get hit around quite a bit. 2-0 pitch, called strike. Zach Collier doesn't like the call. It might have been a little bit up and away, but the home plate umpire, Mike Williams, signals for strike 1, and the count 2-1. The Blue Crabs lost last night's ball game 11-8. Here's the pitch. Swinging a hard line drive, right field line. That's a fair ball. It's going to score David Harris from third. Joe DeLuca turns on the Jets. He rounds third, and now the stop sign goes up from Ray Ortega, the third base coach. An RBI double, though, from Zach Collier. It scores David Harris, and the Blue Crabs have a 2-0 lead in the top of the first. A very well-hit ball off the bat of Zach Collier, and it puts 2 in scoring position with 2 outs and gives Santiago Chirino, the newest Blue Crab, an opportunity. Well, 2 in scoring position for Chirino. And now there's going to be a meeting at the mound as Scott Harkin has clearly run himself into trouble here in the top of the first inning, as Mark Weidemeyer is going to have his conversation with Scott Harkin. It's a situation for the Long Island Ducks where you've fallen behind 2-0 here, but the more important situation is you have 2 on with 2 outs here, and a very good contact hitter in Santiago Chirino at the plate. Has hit north of 300 for 8 consecutive seasons across the Frontier League and the Can-Am League. And the first pitch, breaking ball. A little bit upstairs in the count, 1 ball and no strikes. Hit north of 360 in the 2019 season. That was as part of the Can-Am League for the New Jersey Jackals, merged again with the Frontier League. And the pitch, that's fouled off, first base side, count 1 ball and 1 strike. You talked about an independent Champions League where you take maybe the top 4 teams from the Atlantic League, the top 4 teams from the American Association, maybe the number 1 team from the Frontier League, the number 1 team from the Pioneer League, and they all get together and play like a 10-team Champions League. I like the idea, 1-1 pitch, swing and a miss, count 1 and 2. I'm not sure how feasible it is. I think there would really have to be an agreement between the leagues that, all right, season ends in September, and then we do our Champions League during the month of September. Maybe ends September 1st with the playoffs and everything. 1-2 pitches low, count 2 and 2. I just think it would make things a lot more interesting. I think it would also raise interest across the independent leagues where you can say, hey, you know, this team made it last year. This team was the champion across all of Indy leagues this year, whatever it may be. As a 2-2 pitch. Line drive, foul, back behind home plate. Count remains 2 and 2. And I'm sure a lot of players would want to go to that team that won all of the independent leagues the year prior. And maybe it shows that the Pioneer League is better than some people thought, or the Frontier League, or maybe it's the Atlantic League, who's just running away with everything. 2-2 pitch, breaking ball, line drive, right field, base hit. DeLuca scores. Collier, the stop sign goes up at third base. An RBI single for Santiago Chirino, who gets his Blue Crabs career started in style with an RBI single and gives the Blue Crabs a 3-0 lead. Doesn't try to do too much with it, just goes the other way on a breaking ball from Scott Harkin. And things have really spiraled for the righty, who has allowed 5 consecutive batters to reach with 5 consecutive hits. Hasn't been an issue of throwing strikes. He's thrown 17 strikes on 27 pitches. As Ryan Haug digs in from the right side. Haug, a .266 hitter on the year. First pitch. Oh, it's a called strike that looked a little low. Either way, the count 0-1 on Ryan Haug as Mike Williams, the home plate umpire, with the call. Harkin set. He gets the sign from his catcher. It's Joe DiCarlo tonight. 0-1 pitch, hard line drive through the left side. Another base hit, and another run comes in. Zach Collier scores from third. Santiago Chirino from first to second. An RBI single for Ryan Haug, and the Blue Crabs lead it 4-0. A 4-run first on 6 consecutive hits against Scott Harkin, who has really struggled after retiring the first 2 batters. And Southern Maryland will have batted around, barring a pickoff move or a caught stealing here. As the 9-hitter, Michael Baca, comes to the plate. 4 runs on 6 hits, no walks. As a first pitch breaking ball, again, it's a called strike. That one looked a little low and away, but Mike Williams gives him the benefit of the doubt, and the count 0-1. A lot of breaking balls here in the first, as Scott Harkin seems like he no longer trusts that fastball. Harkin set at the belt. Pitch low, count 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs, 4-0 Southern Maryland. You do have to wonder, is there some sort of a leash that Scott Harkin is on at this point? You don't want to burn the designated hitter, but at the same time, the 1-1 pitch is fouled off first base side. Count 1-2. At the same time, you don't want to just keep your designated hitter in the ball game if it's going to cost you and that your pitcher can't throw strikes or can't, get out of an inning. He does have 2 strikes on Baca now. Count 1-2 with 2 outs, 2 on. 4-0 Southern Maryland behind 6 straight hits. Breaking ball, low and away, count 2-2. Now, according to our TrackMan pitching technology, that first pitch, or I beg your pardon, the first pitch curveball was a strike. Was in the outside corner, but it did come through for a strike. 2-2 pitch, a little bit inside. And Baca moves the hips back as to say, hey, it might have hit me. It was coming in. And the count 3 balls and 2 strikes now on the righty. A couple of curveballs in this at bat. 3 fastballs, though, from Harkin. 3-2 pitch. Line drive. Not all that well hit. It's going to bloop into right field. It does for a base hit. 1 run comes around and scores. It's Santiago Chirino from second. And meanwhile, from first to third, it's Ryan Haug. 7 straight hits from the Blue Crabs. A bloop RBI single from Michael Baca into right field. And the Blue Crabs have a 5-0 lead. Oh my, this inning has completely spiraled out of control for Scott Harkin, who's allowed 5 runs on 7 hits. And here comes Jack Sundberg, the 10th batter to come to the inning, to come to the plate in the inning. Hit one to the warning track in center field to get things started. There's still 2 on base for Southern Maryland as well. Baca from first. It's Haug from third. Now Sundberg's got a chance to get a hit, and if he gets on, then Wolanski. These are the only 2 guys who didn't get hit. 7 straight have reached. First pitch is away, and the count 1-0. You have to at least applaud Harkin for his continuing to throw strikes. I mean, you'd think after allowing 7 straight hits, okay, maybe you throw a few off the plate. 1-0 pitch. That's up and in on a breaking ball that really never came down into the zone, and the count 2-0. 2 balls, no strikes, 2 outs. The Blue Crabs seem to have picked up where they left off last night. They scored 7 runs in the 9th inning last night, have 5 runs on the board here on the top of the first pitch. That's away. Count 3 balls and no strikes now on Jack Sundberg. So if he walks him, put the bases loaded for Michael Wolanski, who's still searching for his first hit of the day. 3-0 pitch. Oh, it's a called strike. That looked a little off the plate. Either way, called strike from Mike Williams in the count 3-1 on the lefty. Be interested to see where our TrackMan pitch technology puts that one. 3 balls, 1 strike, 2 outs. 2 on for the Blue Crabs. Pitch, line drive into left center field for a base hit. Just past the outstretched reach of the shortstop. That's Sue-Wei Lin. Another run comes in and scores as Haug scores from third. Runners on first and second with 2 outs still, and it's 6-0 Blue Crabs. Line drive the other way that time for Sundberg. 8 consecutive hits for the Blue Crabs. And here comes Michael Wolanski, the only batter in this Blue Crabs lineup now who doesn't have a hit. It's 6-0 with 6 runs on 8 hits here on the top of the first. Well, the Blue Crabs haven't already broken it wide open. They've given themselves a comfortable lead as the first pitch is fouled back in the count 0-1. And we're not even done with the top of the first inning. It certainly takes some stress off the plate of Alex Marathieu that you don't have to go out there and throw a perfect ball game to win tonight. Pitch on the ground. This one toward the third base side. It gets through for a base hit. Rounding third, it's Baca. He stumbled a little bit. Throw to the plates in time. Scott Harkin gets out of the inning on a base hit from Michael Wolanski. The last 9 batters Harkin faces get hits, but it's Michael Baca who's thrown out of the plate as he stumbled a little bit when he went around third. Blue Crabs score 6 runs on 9 hits in the top of the first inning. When we come back, it's the Long Island Ducks who come to the plate in the bottom of the first. All ready to go in the bottom of the first inning. The Blue Crabs put up a 6 spot in the top of the first. and lead this ball game 6-0. Every batter in the Blue Crabs order got a hit in the top of the first. I'd like to see how many times that's happened in MLB history. It can't be that many. And the first pitch here from Alex Merrithew is upstairs in the count, 1 ball and no strikes. And the 1-0 offering now from Merrithew. Called strike in the count, 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs lead 6-0. 6 runs on 9 hits, and the 1-1 pitch is low in the count, 2 balls and 1 strike. As Sue-Wei Lin, the batter, he homered twice yesterday for the Long Island Ducks in their 11-8 victory. 2-1. Inside, count 3 balls and 1 strike now from Alex Merrithew. Let's give you the numbers on Merrithew. A 7-3 record, a 3.77 earned run average. And the 3-1 pitch, line drive, well struck to right center. Long run, and Jared Walker won't get there. It gets by him and all the way to the wall. Collier goes and picks it up. Meanwhile, it's Sue-Wei Lin who trots into third with a leadoff triple. Oh my, it was Jared Walker who tried to dive for the ball out in right field. The Blue Crabs have sort of used Walker as a utility piece for the Blue Crabs. He's been at first base, played at third base, played a little bit of left field, and now he's tried out in right field for the first time. And didn't go as I think anybody hoped it did in that last moment, as decided not to play that ball out of bounds, dove for it and sort of somersaulted. And meanwhile, Sue-Wei Lin jumped on his horse and found himself at third base with nobody out here in the bottom of the first inning. And the first pitch is foul back off the bat of Trevor Achenbach. The count 0-1. Last time out for Merrithew, 5 innings, no runs, 3 hits, but have a tough time repeating that as the 0-1 pitch, called strike, and the count 0-2. As there's a runner on third base with nobody out. And I think the Blue Crabs at this point would be satisfied trading a run with an out. 0-2. Low and away as Merrithew tried to go for the strikeout. Pitch missed in the count, 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes, nobody out. Bottom of the first inning as the Blue Crabs scored 6 runs in the top of the first. 6 runs on 9 hits, including a home run off the bat of Jared Walker. 1-2 pitch, fouled back, and the count remains a ball and 2 strikes. Give you some numbers on the 2 pitchers so far tonight. Scott Harkin topped out at 90.1 miles an hour for Merrithew. He's hit 91 tonight. Averaged right at 90. 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, breaking ball, and he gets Achenbach swinging. Oh, really nice slider there, going low and out of the zone. And he gets a swing and a miss from Achenbach. And here comes Alejandro De Aza. De Aza, the most feared hitter in this lineup. He and Sue-Wei Lin maybe, but I think Alejandro De Aza probably a little more feared than Sue-Wei Lin is, as De Aza has the best average in the Atlantic League, and he hit his 10th home run of the season last night. That was against the Blue Crabs starter Alcis Herrera. First pitch, called strike. That's on the inside corner in the count, 0-1. Count, no balls, 1 strike, 1 out. Blue Crabs ahead by 6 here in the bottom of the first. Quite a few fans here in attendance tonight for a Wednesday night. 0-1. Upstairs in the count, 1 ball and 1 strike. The Blue Crabs really haven't had a lot of weekday games recently. I don't think they've had a weekday game since, I want to say, the beginning of August. They've had 3, their last 3 series were all weekend series at home. And the Blue Crabs haven't played a home game since early September. Pitch, ground ball, this one through the right side, a base hit. Sue Lin scores from third, an RBI single for Alejandro De Aza, who's hitting .344 on the year. Oh, the man cannot stop hitting. And a one run in now for Long Island in the bottom of the first inning on the RBI single from Alejandro De Aza. It's now a 6-1 ball game as LJ Mazzilli comes to the plate. Mazzilli taps home plate once. And the first pitch, a little bit low and in. Count, 1 ball and no strikes. And the first pitch a little bit low in the count, or the 1-0 pitch a little low. Count 2-0. Well, the record now for the most consecutive hits by a team was the Colorado Rockies, who had 11 straight hits in a 12-run inning back on July 30th of 2010. It was in a 17-2 win over the Cubs. 2-0 pitch in there for a strike. Count, 2 balls and 1 strike. Runner on first base, 1 out. Here's the 2-1. Swinging a high fly ball off a breaking ball. Rather deep to center field, but Collier is there, and he makes the catch in straightaway center. And there are 2 away. Now, I think this start was really important for Alex Merrithew and this Blue Crabs pitching staff. I think that it's pretty clear what 1 and 2 are going to look like in that playoff series against the Barnstormers. You'd have to think it's going to be Thompson going on Tuesday night and Lamson going on Wednesday night. And I would be surprised if the Blue Crabs use more than 3 starters. I would imagine it goes Thompson, a Lamson, a 3rd starter, and then for games 4 and 5, you probably go back to Thompson and Lamson, depending on how things look. If you're up 2-1, maybe you go to someone else for game 4 with Thompson in your back pocket for game 5. Pitch. That's low and in. Count, 1 ball and no strikes. Because you don't want to jeopardize Thompson's chances of going in the following series if you pitch him on Tuesday and you pitch him on Saturday and you ask him to go again on Tuesday. That's a lot of work for a pitcher to go 3 times in the course of a week. So I think the Blue Crabs might try to limit that. 1-0 pitch. That's low. Thompson, Howe couldn't find it for a moment. And now the runner is going to take off from first to second. So De Aza steals second base on a pitch low in the dirt. We'll have to see if that goes down as a wild pitch or a pass ball or just a stolen base. Either way, 2 balls and no strikes on Jose Sermo. But who that 3rd pitcher is going to be, that's a major question mark. Is it Alex Merrithew? Is it Eddie Butler? I don't think it's Alcides Herrera after what we saw last night. And you also have to look at what the rest of the regular season looks like from a pitching perspective. So Thompson goes Thursday. You'd have to think Lamson goes Friday. And then Saturday might be Eddie Butler. And Sunday, I could see Adrian Cook going Sunday. Pitch a little bit inside in the count. 3 balls and no strikes now on Jose Sermo with 2 outs in the bottom of the first inning. Merrithew set. Here's the 3-0. That's low. It's ball 4. That one got away from Lamson. You could tell right as he released the ball, he wasn't happy with where it was. So runners on first and second with 2 outs, 6-1 Blue Crabs. And the Blue Crabs' consecutive hit streak is actually still alive here because it was Michael Wolanski who got a hit to end the bottom of the first inning. As it was Baca thrown out at the plate. We'll get to some of the questions or some of the comments in the YouTube chat. Feel free to chime in. We'll give you a shout out. Let us know where you're listening from tonight. First pitch is upstairs to Carlos Castro, and the count 1 ball and no strikes. Tammy Shipley says, Yahoo! Good evening, everyone. And Susan H. says, nice job, Jared. Way to start the game. 8 consecutive hits. Austin, you can use this for a trivia question. What's the most consecutive hits in an inning? Now, funny enough, Tammy, as the pitch is in there for a strike count 1-1. I didn't read your comment. I was thinking about that as a trivia question myself. But we've got a different trivia tonight. It's from the interview with the Blue Crabs' newest player, Santiago Chirino. And Susan H. says, Austin, what side of the field is the Blue Crabs dugout in Lancaster? Pitch, swinging a high fly ball, right field. Walker came in, now he goes back and makes the catch over the shoulder for the final out. We're going to get to that question when we come back, Susan, as we are done with one inning of play. The Ducks score one, they strand two at the end of one. It's 6-1, Blue Crabs on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
This is Michael Baca, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Oh, Jared Walker steps in to face off against Scott Harkin, and the first pitch is upstairs. And the count 1-0 strikes on Jared Walker. 9 consecutive Blue Crabs reach to end the top of the first inning. That streak's still ongoing. 1-0 pitch, swinging a high pop-up, shallow right field. It's the second baseman, Trevor Achenbach, who gives way to the right fielder, Dustin Woodcock, who makes the catch to end that streak. And there is one away in the top of the second inning.
The designated hitter, number 14, David Harris.
And here comes David Harris. Back in the first inning, let's go through that entire inning. Fly out from Sundberg, a fly out from Wolanski. The home run from Jared Walker, a single on a line drive to left from David Harris. The pitch is a called strike. DeLuca, a ground ball single to center. Zach Collier, a double to right. Santiago Chirino, a line drive to right. And the pitch, ground ball down the third base line, just foul. Awfully close. But a foul ball called by Michael Herring, the third base umpire, and the count 0-2 now on Harris. From there, Ryan Haug singled, Baca singled, Sundberg singled, and Wolanski singled through the left side, but it was Baca thrown out of the plate to end the top of the first inning. Here is the 0-2. Breaking ball, line drive into left field for a base hit. That one was hanging right over the plate. And it's a base hit to left. And so there is one on with one out. in the top of the second inning. That's just a bad pitch by Scott Harkin, who's left a lot of breaking balls right over the heart of the plate. It's a 12-6 looping curve, but if it's 70 miles an hour or not even, and it's just sitting there over the heart of the plate and doesn't have enough downward movement, I mean, it's going to get hit. And that's what happened that time. Harris was able to stay back on the ball and line it into left field. Pitch. That's away. Count 1-0. Harkin, through an inning and a third, has thrown 49 pitches. Here's the pitch. Ground ball to first. This should be 2. It's Sermo who touches the bag, and now did Harris get around him? No, he's tagged out by the second baseman, Trevor Achenbach, and that ends the inning. A 3-4 double play to end the top of the second inning. Well, the Blue Crabs picked up 1 hit, though they strand none at the end of an inning and a half. It's the Blue Crabs 6 and the Ducks 1 on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Now, Cougar, in just a moment, we're going to throw a trivia question up on the Ducks.
go.
Oh, Dustin Woodcock will get things started in the bottom of the second inning off of Alex Marathew. As it will be Woodcock, DeCarlo, and Frias, 7, 8, and 9. And the pitch up and away, and the count 1 ball and no strikes on Dustin Woodcock. It was Joe DeLuca who grounded into a double play to end the top of the second inning. Marathew set, 1-0. Popped up, third base side. Santiago Chirino calls everyone else off. There's no one in the area, and he makes the catch, and there's 1 away. So quickly 1 out in the bottom of the second inning from Alex Marathew, who surrendered a run in the bottom of the first inning on an RBI single through the right side after it was a triple off the bat of Su-Wei Lin. Well, it's taken 2 days, but Jared Walker across games 1 and games 2 has now combined for a cycle. Had a single, double, and triple in game 1, and now a home run here in game 2. Pitch on the ground to third. Chirino fires to first. It's a good throw, and there are 2 away. He's a terrific fielder. We talked about that in our pregame show a little bit earlier today. We will replay some of that pregame show between innings, from the 3rd inning through the 7th inning. We also have our trivia questions related to Santiago Chirino. We asked him before the game. This is a good one. I like this trivia question we got coming up today. It's about consecutive seasons hitting 300 or better. And you can't just average 300 over those years. You had to have it each year. So we'll get there in a moment. We'll get there in the top of the fourth, actually. We have a little bit of time. First pitch a little bit low, pretty close from Alex Merrithew. But the count 1 ball and no strikes on Vladimir Frias, who bats 9th. Inning in 2/3 so far from Merrithew. 1-0 pitch. Ground ball toward first. Backhanded by Joe DeLuca. The flip to Merrithew is in plenty of time to get Vladimir Frias. And that ends the bottom of the second inning. An awfully quick 1-2-3 inning from Alex Merrithew. We go to the top of the third. It's 6-1 Blue Crabs on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network. Oh, we're live from Long Island, just ahead of Game 2 between the Long Island Ducks and the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. We're hitting the tail end of the season. We're glad to be joined by the newest Blue Crab, Santiago Chirino. Santiago, thanks for coming on the pregame show.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, man.
All right, well, let's jump right on in here. Let's get the fans to get to know you a little bit better and sort of your story. So you grow up in Venezuela. You just told me moments ago you played in the Little League World Series. How did that come about?
Yeah, my parents, since I was on the belly, my dad said to my mom that I'm going to be a baseball player. My first year, I was dressed up as a baseball player. So since I was 4 years old, I started playing baseball, Little League. And when I was 15, I went to the Little League World Series, Senior League in Bangor, Maine. We lost the final against Georgia, but it was a really great experience. And then at that time, that's when the Rangers were looking at me and my stats. I was the MVP on the Latin America tournament, so they called my family, my mom, and start talking like they're following me and everything that I'm doing the next couple of years because it's the time that I can sign. And then when I was 16, I signed with the Rangers, went to Dominican to play my first year. I went to extended in America and Arizona the same year, and then the next year I went to spring training. I started in a rookie league for I think 10 games, and then somebody got hurt in low A, and I got promoted. I played the rest of the season in high A. I had a really good season, and then after that I moved up to high.
Well, you got to listen to a little bit of Santiago Chirino's story in between innings. And Santiago Chirino is on deck as we get going in the top of the third inning. It's the Blue Crabs who have a 6-1 lead, and the first pitch to Zach Collier is a called strike. Count 0-1 on the lefty. Collier 1 for 1 today, like everybody who is going to follow Collier as well in this lineup. Pitch is low on the count, 1 ball and 1 strike. Blue Crabs had 9 consecutive hits in the top of the first inning, which is why Collier, and then will also be Chirino, Haug, and Baca. They're all 1 for 1 today. Pitch, swing, and he loses the bat and misses the ball. And the count 1 ball and 1 strike. You never like to see a player lose the bat. That one flew probably about 90 or 100 feet past the first base bag. Count 1-2 now on the Blue Crabs center fielder, Zach Collier. Not sure if he needs a little more pine tar there, get a better grip on the bat. Either way, count 1-2 on the lefty. This also complicates the situation a little bit for the Blue Crabs. If and when you see this team get back to 100%. 1-2 pitch low, and the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Alex Crosby's been on this team for 2 years. You'd have to think when he comes back, he'll be able to play. But if Santiago Chirino hits that well, I'm not sure. I mean, if he really plays incredibly well for the next couple of weeks, it's going to be hard to take him out of the lineup in the playoffs. 2-2 pitch is up and away. Count 3 balls and 2 strikes. And you look at a player like Braxton Lee coming back into the lineup. If or when that happens. 3-2 pitch, swinging a high fly ball, left center field. It's the center fielder De Aza. He's on the run toward left center, and he makes the catch for the second out, or for the first out, I should say. One away in the top of the third. Ball was well struck off the bat of Collier, but Deaza managed to track it down in center field. He and LJ Mazzilli were converging. So one away now in the top of the third. Still 6-1 Blue Crabs. For the Blue Crabs, 6 runs on 10 hits. For the Ducks, 1 run on 2 hits. Pitch upstairs, count 1 ball and no strikes on Santiago Chirino. And the 1-1 pitch fouled back in the count, or 1-0 pitch, count 1-1 now. So we discussed this earlier. It's not going to be our trivia question tonight because we already had a trivia question planned for tonight, but the other one being, as the 1-1 pitch is low. Now, I gave you all the answers, so we can't then ask it because everyone already heard the answer. Everyone who was here, at least for the first inning, as far as the most consecutive hits in baseball history. Answer 11 consecutive. Pitch, hard ground ball down the third base side, and the count 2-2. 11 consecutive hits as part of a 12-run inning for the Colorado Rockies. Blue Crabs had 9 straight, including Michael Wolanski's single that ended the inning. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Two-two pitch upcoming. Here's the offering. Line drive foul. First base side. That one toward the concourse level. And the count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. Across 327 at-bats, Chirino struck out just 33 times this season. It's about once every 10 at-bats. 2-2 pitch. Line drive foul yet again. It's a really, really good walk rate, or lack of strikeout rate, I really should say. You look at some of the other players up and down the Blue Crabs lineup. See a lot of walks. Pitch. That one line drive into right field for a base hit. Chirino has started his Blue Crabs career 2 for 2. A hanging breaking ball out over the plate from Scott Harkin. He rips it into left. Runner on first base with 1 out. I should say he has one of the best strikeout rates on the team. You compare it to some of the other guys. Even a guy like Jack Sundberg, who doesn't strike out all that much. So Sundberg has 496 at-bats this year and 100 strikeouts. It's about a 20% strikeout rate. So 10% is outstanding. That's where Santiago Chirino is. Something that unfortunately is not valued all that highly at the major league level, though probably should be, as the pitch is a called strike on Ryan Haug. The whole analytics movement going to the home run, walk, strikeout, that a walk is as good as a single, and a strikeout is, well, no different than a fly out or a ground out. 0-1 pitch low, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. You put the ball in play, and good things will happen. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out on Ryan Haug. 1-1 delivery. Ground ball foul, third base side, count 1-2. You're not going to get a ton of power from Santiago Chirino over the course of his professional career. He has hit 32 home runs in over 1,100 games. So you do your math, about 35 games per home run. It's not a lot of home runs. Pitch, ground ball slowly over to third. Throw goes to second for 1. Back on to first. They turn the 5-4-3 double play. A ball was not very hard hit off the bat of Ryan Haug, but Vladimir Frias to Trevor Achenbach to the first baseman Jose Sermo. A very clean 5-4-3 double play to end the top of the third inning. Well, the Blue Crabs picked up 1 hit, but they strand none at the end of 2.5. It's Southern Maryland 6. It's Long Island 1 on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
This is Nick Wells, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Come stay at the Holiday Inn Express Waldorf, where teamwork makes the dream work. A proud sponsor of the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs and your home away from home. The Holiday Inn Express is located at 11,370 Days Court. That's 11370 Days Court, Waldorf, near the Waldorf Shoppers World Shopping Center. Call 301-932-9200 to make a reservation or look us up at ihg.com or on the IHG app. Come put your feet up and enjoy the complimentary free breakfast and indoor heated pool at the Holiday Inn Express, Waldorf.
Number 25, Two-Way Lin.
Well, Sue Lin will dig in to get things going. In the bottom of the third inning, the Blue Crabs have a 6-1 lead over the Long Island Ducks. And Merrithew comes set. First pitch, a little bit outside of the count, 1 ball and no strikes. This is going to be the last start of the regular season for Alex Merrithew. As the 1-0 pitch called strike, count 1 ball and 1 strike. And with the bullpen the way it is, it does complicate the situation of where some of these starters who've been really, really good in the rotation who might not pitch in a starting role will go. 1-1 pitch up and away, and the count 2-1. And you already have a situation where you've got Baker, you've got Dykstra, and you've got Briseño 7, 8, and 9. Not even to mention Law and Latos if he's healthy. Pitch, line drive toward left. It is Jack Sundberg who's there with plenty of time and makes the catch. There is 1 away. So, just back to that point, though, if you've got a guy, if you got those 3 guys, and then you've got Latos and Law, and not even to mention guys like Dalton Geeky who've been very consistent, and Nick Wells, who's also sort of been added into that sort of clump of that secondary guys out of the pen behind Baker, Dykstra, Briseño, who are really those core 3 with Latos when healthy as the closer. It does sort of make you question, okay, so where does a starting pitcher who's been really good, someone like Merrithew, if he were not to be added to the rotation, if he were to be put in the bullpen, where does he fit in? If it's instead Butler, where would Butler fit in a bullpen like that? All questions you have to consider. First pitch is a little upstairs. 1-0 pitch, a called strike on the inside corner. Though I can't imagine that the 2-hitter, Trevor Achenbach, is a big fan. He looked like he thought that was inside. Either way, count 1 ball and 1 strike. On the batter. And the pitch. 1 hopper. Oh, past the outstretched reach of Michael Baca for a base hit. And there's a runner on first with 1 out. Ball had some awkward spin on it, and it was perfectly placed just past the outstretched reach of Baca for the base hit.
Now batting for the Ducks, the center fielder.
So a runner on first base now with 1 out.
Alejandro De Aza.
As Alejandro De Aza comes to the plate. Alejandro De Aza 1 for 1, had an RBI single his first time up. That drove in Vladimir Frias and put the Ducks on the board. Now runner on first base with one out. First pitch a little away in the count. 1 ball and no strikes. Alex Merrithew has faced Long Island 3 times this year. Faced them twice in relief, I should say, and found success. 1-0 pitch, called strike in the count. 1 ball and 1 strike, and pitched as a starter at Long Island on July 22nd and ran into a lot of trouble. 7 innings, 10 hits, 8 runs, 6 earned. Had a couple of those starts this year. Had that sort of start last time or earlier this month against Charleston. And he went 5 1/3, 8 runs, 6 earned. And while he's had those, he's also had some terrific performances. Pitch low and in the count, 2 balls and 1 strike. The entire month of July was outstanding for the righty. Went 7 innings or longer in each of those starts and did not allow more than 3 earned runs in any start. Had 6 consecutive quality starts at one point. He's still 7 out of 8 in quality starts. 2-1 pitch to De Aza, swinging a line drive through the right side, a base hit. It's been a consistent theme for De Aza, who has had quite a few hits through the right side. And, well, runners on first and second with 1 out now for the Ducks. De Aza, a player who would be heavily shifted in the major leagues this year, but not next year, as they're getting rid of the shift altogether in Major League Baseball. Have to have 2 players on each side of second base when the pitch is thrown. And then there's a second element to that, though, as players must have their feet on the infield dirt when the pitch is thrown as well, which also takes bunts into effect, as the first pitch is a big swing and a miss, count 0-1. So if you're really good at bunting in the infield, even if the third baseman knows, you can't play all that far in. You got to play on the dirt. You can't play on the grass. I'd imagine, when that pitch is thrown, he might take an extra step in or 2 in case he's bunting. Pitch, ground ball over to third. Could be 2. Torino to second for 1. Back on to first. Is it in time? They got him. How about that? 5-4-3 double play. Perfectly turned by Santiago Torino to Michael Wolanski at second. And that ends the bottom of the 3rd inning. They go around the horn. 5-4-3 to end the inning. Well, Merrithew allows a pair of hits. The Ducks strand 1 at the end of 3. It's 6-1 Southern Maryland on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
And then I enjoyed the Corn Belters for my first year as a professional in independent baseball. And I played 6 years for them. Then I moved to the Cannon League. I played 1 year with the Jackals in the Cannon League. We won that year. And then the Cannon League merged to the Frontier League. And then I played 2 more years with the Jackals, but on the Frontier League.
Right. I know Matt Latos played with the Jackals. Did you ever overlap with him?
No, he played with the Jackals a year before I played there. But he knows my manager from the Jackals. And I played with Davey Harris on 19 when we won in the Cannon League. I played with Michael Baca in 18 with the Corn Belters. So I've been in the game long enough to know some people,
Well, it's nice that you know some of the guys on this team. You don't have to start all the way from scratch. But what has the experience been like moving from the Can-Am League and then to the Frontier League and now joining the Blue Crabs after spending the whole year with the Jackals?
Yeah, it's baseball. Since I'm a kid, I love to play the game, and this is every day when I'm on a baseball field, I'm happy, and this is what I do, This is what I've been learning.
Well, 9-1-2 will come to the plate in the top of the 4th inning. Baca followed by Sundberg and Wolanski. Baca 1 for 1. was involved as part of that 9 consecutive hit streak the Blue Crabs had back in the top of the first inning. First pitch called strike in the count 0-1. No balls, 1 strike. As Baca gets things started. 6-1 Blue Crabs lead as the 0-1 pitch is at the knees in the count 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes, nobody out. As it is time to get to our trivia question. We've teased this trivia question a little bit. It's at the top of the 4th inning. And the pitch, ground ball over to second, a rather routine play for Trevor Achenbach, who fields and fires to first, and plenty of time to get Michael Baca, and there's 1 away. All right, so we got some questions here. Susan H. says, Austin, what side of the field is the Blue Crabs dugout in Lancaster? Francis Hill says, Vamos Palante mi hijo Santiago Chirino. So it sounds like Francis is watching for his boy Santiago Chirino, and Chirino's had a good start so far. He's got a couple of hits, 2 for 2. Wes Mumper says, Susan, it's on the third base side. As always happy to see some of our viewers helping each other out. If I didn't quite get to it, I said I would get back to it in the 3rd inning. That is right, though, Wes. Thank you for that. Third base side is correct. That's where the Blue Crabs are in Lancaster. The legend said, good evening, everyone. I hope you're all having a swell Wednesday. Yeah, I'm having a good Wednesday. 0-1 pitch in there for a called strike. Count 0-2 on Sundberg, who nearly homered his first time up. Deep fly out to right center, and then hit one to the gap in left center. A base hit over the shortstop Su-Wei Lin's head. 0-2. Ground ball to the first base side. It's fielded by the first baseman, Jose Sermo, who steps on first. And there are 2 away. Well, Scott Harkin ran himself into a ton of trouble in the first inning. Seemed like an inning that would never end for the righty. It took a base hit and an outfield assist to end the inning. As Harkin surrendered 9 consecutive hits in the inning, he's only thrown 72 pitches through 3 2/3. And I say only, and then he's got a really good shot at getting through 5 innings at this point, maybe even 6. If he can keep this sort of number up. Pitch, that's away. Count 1 ball and no strike. 6 might be a stretch, but if he finishes this inning with 76 pitches or so, he has a quick 5th. He could easily go 6 in that case, depending on what Wally Backman is interested in doing with regard to his bullpen. But talk about a recovery after a terrible first pitch. Breaking balls outside. Count 2 balls and no strikes on Wolanski, who is 1 for 2 with a single. It's not all that hard hit. A seeing eye single between the shortstop Su-Wei Lin and the third baseman Vladimir Frias. 2-0 pitch, a little bit low and away. Count 3-0 now. So let's get to our trivia question. What is the most consecutive seasons with a 300 batting average or better in MLB history? 3-0 pitch, line drive up the middle from Michael Wolanski, and he's now 2 for 3 on the day with a single up the middle, and the Blue Crabs have a runner on first base with 2 outs. 6-1 Blue Crabs in the top of the 4th. And Jared Walker will come to the plate. Walker homered in the first. He flied out to shallow right in the second. 1 for 2. To think that this is his 3rd at bat in the 4th inning, it's pretty impressive. First pitch is foul back, count 0-1. But it makes perfect sense if you have a 11 batter first inning. Blue Crabs have actually only had 3 batters come to the plate in both the second and the third. There was a base hit in each one, but a double play in each one as well. Line drive to right field on the 0-1 pitch. It's a base hit. Wolanski stops at second. So runners on first and second now with 2 outs as Jared Walker posts his second hit of the ball game. Had a home run in the first. He flied out in the second, I should say, and now hits a base hit to right here in the 4th inning as David Harris will step in. So now if you're Scott Harkin, you've got a little more to worry about as David Harris is one of the best power threats on this team. Also a terrific contact hitter. Steps in. .326 hitter on the year. Pitch low and away. Count 1 ball and no strikes. Harkin's thrown a good number of strikes here. I'm going to get to that strike ball ratio in a moment. 51 strikes, 37 balls. Pitch, line drive, foul back. I beg your pardon, 27 balls. As the pitch is foul back, the count 1 ball and 1 strike. It's about a 2-to-1 between strikes and balls. And the 1-1 delivery. Big wave and a miss. Count 1 and 2. So in this case, I mean, it's relatively impressive, the strikes to balls ratio there. But I would have thought he might have walked one batter after throwing 28 balls. Has not. It's every batter's gotten a hit. Pitch. This one, ground ball up the middle. It's a base hit. They're going to send Wolanski around third. The throw to the plate's a good one, but it's not in time. RBI single for David Harris as Wolanski comes around and scored from second base. That is the 7th run for the Blue Crabs on their 14th hit of the ball game. Wow. 14 hits across 3 2/3 innings for the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs tonight. So that's what I was saying. When I said every batter getting a hit, I meant every base runner getting a hit. So 7 runs on 14 hits. They're not done yet either. Joe DeLuca now comes to the plate with 2 outs in the top of the 4th inning. Well, here in the 4th, ground out from Baca, a ground out from Sundberg, and now 3 consecutive hits for the Blue Crabs. And the pitch to DeLuca is low. Count 1 ball and no strikes. Believe me, he does not want another situation where 9 straight batters get hits. 3 is enough, I'm sure. That's what Scott Harkin would tell you, but a long 2-out rally here for the Blue Crabs. 1-0 pitch, that's low, count 2-0. All 6 runs back in the 1st inning came with 2 outs. You want a 2-out rally, that's a 2-out rally for you. The Blue Crabs hitting with runners in scoring position. 7 for 7 in that category. 2-0 pitch. Upstairs, count 3-0. Now Harkin is behind in the count, 3 balls and no strikes. He's been behind 3-0 a few times. He's tried to fight back. The issue has been that he ends up throwing a pitch right over the heart of the plate that gets crushed, even if it's not a home run. I mean, Wolanski just blasted one straight back up the middle for a hit. 3-0 pitch. Line drive, foul back behind home plate as DeLuca had the green light on 3-0. He must have really liked what he saw. I'll give you some exit velocity numbers. Wolanski's single at 105. David Harris' single at 106. Again, anything above 90 or 95 is pretty hard hit. As the 3-1 pitch is fouled off third base side. 100 plus is extremely hard hit. As the 3-1 pitch foul back, count 3-2 now on DeLuca. It was 1 for 2. DeLuca singled. He also grounded into a double play. Walker with a short lead off of second base. It's Harris on first with 2 outs in the top of the 4th. 7-1 Blue Crabs. Pitch, runner goes, line drive, center field, straight away. It's Alejandro De Aza who takes only a few steps now to right center and makes the catch overhead for the final out. Well, the Blue Crabs pick up 3 hits in the top of the 4th inning. They score 1 and now lead this ball game 7-1 over the Long Island Ducks on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
To do on my life, and since last year that I have my kid, I talked to my wife and I said that I want to play a couple more years to my kid grow up watching me play, so it can be an inspiration for him, even if he plays baseball or not, but he can see how hard we work for our goals, you know what I'm saying, and that's huge in life. So that's my goal right now. I'm very happy to be here with the Blue Crabs. It's baseball. I'm trying to give my 100% every time I'm on a baseball field. It don't matter what team. This is a business, and whoever that I play for, I'm gonna give my 100%. And now that we're in the playoff and in this situation, I'm gonna try to win that ring. I'm trying to give everything that I have to make the team better and trying to win the ring.
Well, let's talk about that playoff run in just a moment. I want to talk a little bit more about you as a player. You play at third base tonight. Is that your favorite spot in the infield, or is there one position in the infield where you feel most comfortable?
Well, I've been playing shortstop the past 6 years in the Frontier League and Cannon League, and then before that I played 3 years as a second baseman. I played third base in minor leagues. I played second base in minor leagues. I played shortstop in minor league. I played outfield in minor leagues. I played third. The last time that I played third base was in Winter League in 2019. Okay. And yeah, we won that year in Panama. It was a good year, you know, and you know, I'm excited. It don't matter what I'm playing. I just want the opportunity to be on the field and be on the lineup, you know, and trying to do my thing.
Get a bit of an idea from that conversation with Santiago Chirino about his strengths as a defensive player. Very short-handed in the field. Played most of his career at shortstop, though, which adds another question into the frame here. Baca's been the everyday shortstop. If Crosby comes back, is there a way that Chirino moves over to shortstop? I mean, Baca's been there every day. First pitch down to Jose Sermo. A called strike in the bottom of the fourth inning. 7-1 Blue Crabs. As Marathon returns for his fourth inning of work, he's allowed 1 run on 4 hits. Pitch, high pop-up, shallow left center field. It is the shortstop, Michael Baca, who drifts back and makes the catch for the first out. And we've seen Baca as a really, really consistent defensive player as well. The question, just again, is you really can't keep a guy like Chirino out of the lineup if he's hitting so well. He's 2 for 2 so far in today's ball game, a couple of singles. Not trying to do too much. He pulled one into left. He pushed one into right. Just a really consistent contact hitter. As Carlos Castro digs in. Meanwhile, Alex Marathon comes set. First pitch. Big wave and a miss on a breaking ball, and the count, no balls in, 1 strike. Ryan Haug calling a pretty good game here behind home plate. A lot of the pitchers have a really good relationship with the entire catching squad here with the Blue Crabs, whether it's Haug or Falsetti or DeLuca. 0-1, that's low and away. The count, 1 ball and 1 strike, and the ability to work with a pitcher and know what you want calling a game makes a big difference. Marathon gone to the slider a couple of times now. That slider at 82 to 83. Count, 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Here's a pitch. Swinging a high fly ball, center field straight away. It's Collier who drifts over to right center and makes the catch for the second out as Carlos Castro got under that ball. Well, there are 2 away now in the bottom of the 4th inning. Dustin Woodcock comes to the plate. Woodcock, the 7-hitter. And I think for Alex Marathon, if he's not striking out a ton of guys, and there are starts where he does have big strikeout nights, but if he's not generally going to strike out a ton of guys, he needs weak contact, and that's what he's gotten a lot of tonight. First pitch from Marathon, called strike, count 0-1. We talked about exit velocities and what a good exit velocity is for a batter and what you're sort of looking for. 90 to 95 is somewhat hard hit. 95 plus is hard hit. 100 plus is very hard hit. I'll give you some of the exit velocities from the last couple of innings. 0-1 pitch. Line drive, foul back behind home plate. Su-Wei Lin hit it at 81. 97 miles an hour from Achenbach. Diaz at 94. LJ Mazzilli at 73. Jose Sermo hit at 80 miles an hour. And Carlos Castro at 93. So I've just given you a whole host of numbers here. And what does that really mean? Well, we saw 1 ball hit harder than 95 miles an hour. Nothing hit harder than 100. And the Blue Crabs have the 9 hardest exit velocities. They've had 8 balls harder than 100 miles an hour today. As the pitch is fouled back by Dustin Woodcock. Count 1 and 2 now on the lefty, including one that was hit 107, a home run that was hit 104. Jared Walker himself has hit 2 north of 103 miles per hour. As a quick meeting between Haug and Marathew, trying to make sure everything is on track. Now, I'm going to give you an update to the trivia question after this pitch, regardless of what happens. 1-2 offering to Woodcock. It's away. Count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now, the question was, it's posted now in the YouTube chat, what's the most consecutive seasons by a player with a 300 batting average or better? Eric Shellhouse answered Ty Cobb. Now, Ty Cobb is correct, but how many consecutive seasons did he have a 300 batting average? 2-2 pitch, that's away. Count 3 balls and 2 strikes. Reason we asked this question today is the Blue Crabs third baseman Santiago Chirino has 8 consecutive seasons in independent ball with a 300 batting average or better. 3-2 offering will be upcoming, but Marathew steps off the mound. Marathew's thrown 51 pitches across 3 2/3 innings. And now the 3-2. Line drive toward left. Long run for Sundberg. He's on the run. He makes the catch. Oh, well struck ball by Dustin Woodcock the other way, but it's tracked down by Jack Sundberg to end the inning. Well, Marathew's worked through 4 innings of work. He has a 1-2-3 inning in the bottom of the 4th. The Blue Crabs have a 7-1 lead as we go to the top of the 5th inning on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network. So we were at third base tonight. I want to talk about your abilities at the plate, though. If you look up your baseball reference numbers, it's 8 consecutive years, 7 in the Frontier League, 1 in the Can-Am League where you've hit 300 or better. Do you see yourself as a top-level contact hitter? Is that what you look at yourself as at the plate?
Yes, one of my things when I'm hitting it is trying to put the ball in play. You know, when you put the ball in play, you got more opportunities to be on base, you know, by errors, by anything. You know, you can be on base, but this is what one coach told me this: when you strike out, you go to the dugout, nothing happened, you know. But if you hit the ball, even if it's soft, even if you hit it anywhere, you have a chance. You're giving to your team a chance to be on base and create something, create a rally for the inning, you know. And basically, that's what I've been doing in my career on the independent baseball. As a second hole, you know, in the lineup, I'm trying to move the runners for the big guys, and you know, I'm not trying to do too much. I'm always trying to keep things short. I'm trying to do my thing. I'm trying to play the baseball that I know, trying not to change anything, you know. And it's been working, you know. It's been working the past 8 years, 7 years. I've been putting a lot of work into on the winter, you know. But also, when you do what you love, you know, you work hard for it, things will go to your way better, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. And let's talk now about the final 5 games of the season. 2 here on Long Island, and it looks like we're only going to play 3 against Lancaster this weekend. And then it's time for the playoffs. What's the mentality? What's your mentality more specifically moving down the stretch here?
Well, right now, take as many at bat.
And the first pitch to Zach Collier is away in the count, 1 ball and no strikes on the lefty. 7-1, Blue Crabs over the Ducks. As it's 6, 7, and 8 in the order to come to the plate. Pitch is low, count 2 balls and no strikes. You heard about Santiago Chirino moments ago and his approach at the plate. He thinks of himself as a guy who wants to make good contact. And if he doesn't get a hit, move guys over for the bigger guys in the lineup. And the 2-0 pitch, called strike, count 2-1. but he's really just a strong contact hitter. You look at him and a guy like Braxton Lee, and there are a lot of similarities there. Guys who aren't going to hit a ton of home runs, but want to get on base, move runners over. Pitch, line drive right at the right fielder. And he makes the catch. That's Dustin Woodcock tonight out in right field for the Long Island Ducks. Was confused momentarily. Carlos Castro there last night. Either way, there is one away in the top of the fifth. And here comes Santiago Castilla. And the first pitch called strike, and the count 0-1 on the righty. Oh, 1 pitch, dribbler. That one's off of his left cleat. And that one's going to hurt. That's going to have some pain there. Count 0-2 now on Alex Crosby. And the 0-2. That's a little bit low. Count 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes with 1 away in the top of the 5th inning. Southern Maryland 7, Long Island 1. And the 1-2 pitch, foul back. Count remains 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out. Here's the pitch. That's a little low on the count, 2-2. Santiago Castillo to be followed by Ryan Haug as a 2-2 pitch, line drive, shallow right field. Coming in, it is the right fielder, Dustin Woodcock, who makes the catch. He was playing very shallow out in right, and there are 2 away. That ball otherwise very well may have found the grass for a bloop single, as Woodcock was probably 30 or 40 feet in from his normal position out in right field, anticipating a weaker line drive the other way. Base paths empty, 2 out. First pitch to Ryan Haug, big swing and a miss. The count 0-1 on the right-handed hitting catcher. Haug 1 for 2 today. Oh, 1. That's called strike. Count 0-2. Top of the 5th inning, 7-1 Blue Crabs. Ryan Haug played with the Pittsburgh Pirates system through 2019. And the pitch, that's low, count 1-2. Haug hit .324 in rookie ball, hit .273 across high A and A, or class A and low A, I should say. And the pitch, swing and a miss on a breaking ball, strike 3. Haug goes down on strikes. And that ends the top of the 5th inning. Well, the Blue Crabs still have a 7-1 lead as we are finished with 4.5. We're halfway done here at Fairfield Properties Ballpark. It's Alex Merrithew who looks to continue to roll when we come back on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Because I finished my season like a week and a half. I need to take as many at bats so I can be back on my swing and my timing. And the playoff, not trying to do, anything crazy. I'm trying to play the game right, trying to play my defense. I think playoff is always about, like, pitching and defense, Everyone, we can hit and all that, but I think if you want to win games in the playoff, is about pitching and defense. So I'm trying to do the best that I can on the field and trying to be on base. What I say, I'm trying to be on base and create chances, create chances every time that I get on base and trying to score some runs. That's how we're going to win some games.
Awesome. Well, let's go on to our next segment. This is the trivia question segment. And I had an initial trivia question that I was going to ask you, but I just thought of a new one during our interview here, and we're going to change it up a little bit. We said that you have a 300 batting average now for 8 consecutive years. In Major League Baseball, what's the most consecutive seasons that a batter has hit 300?
I would say, I think it's 11.
11 straight
I think
years?
it's 11 straight years.
Do you have a player in mind here?
No, but it have to be a long timer, you know, or either Miguel Cabrera, he's close to there, or Albert Pujols. That's my 2 guesses because I grew up watching them, you know what I'm saying? But there is more players, you know, but I think it's a long timer.
A long time ago, going 11 straight seasons when a player hit 300 for every single one of those seasons. All right. I think that's fair. I'm not sure what the answer is. I'm going to have to look it up. So we'll answer the question in the broadcast. I'll find the answer for you once we're done here with the interview. I want to go into the Your Opinion segment now. So you played in, you said, the Frontier League and the Can-Am League. You're now playing in the Atlantic League for the first time. We've asked a few of our players if there should be sort of like a Champions League for independent ball. They have this for soccer over in Europe. They have this for hockey where the top teams from a lot of the different leagues come together and play. Would you like to have a situation where maybe the top team from the Frontier League, top team? Joe DiCarlo digs in, and we are underway in the bottom of the 5th inning. The first pitch is a called strike, and the count 0-1 on the righty. No balls, 1 strike, nobody out. 7-1 Blue Crabs. 6 in the first and 1 in the 4th for Southern Maryland. Pitch a little inside, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. One pitch upcoming to Joe DiCarlo. It's a little low and away. Count 2 balls and 1 strike. And the 2-1. Check swing to go. It's a called strike anyway. And the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Two balls, 2 strikes, nobody out. Here's the 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Alex Merrithew with his 2nd strikeout of the night as he gets Joe DiCarlo swinging and missing at a pitch that was tailing low and out of the zone. And there is 1 out in the bottom of the 5th.
Now batting for the Ducks, third baseman, number 1, Vladimir.
Now we've talked a little bit about the World Baseball Classic over the last couple of days. The first game for Great Britain, which includes 4 Blue Crabs, either current or former. And that will be on Friday. And the first pitch called strike on Vladimir Frias. So prior to the Blue Crabs game against the Lancaster Barnstormers. Count 0-1 on Frias. Pitch, line drive. This one up the middle for a base hit. As it tails to left center, and Zach Collier plays it on a couple of bounces. So runner on first base with 1 out.
The shortstop, number 25, Su-Wei Lin.
As Su-Wei Lee digs in. Runner on first base and 1 out. And the first pitch called a ball on the lefty. The count 1-0. 1 ball, no strikes, 1 out on Su-Wei Lin, the shortstop for the Long Island Ducks. And the 1-0. A little up and away, count 2-0. 2 balls, no strikes, 1 out. Sue Lin played in parts of 5 seasons in Major League Baseball. 4 with the Red Sox, 1 with the Twins. 2-0. It's away. Count 3-0. Back to that Great Britain versus France matchup. That will be on Friday. Local time here in the U.S., I believe at 2 p.m. It's 6 p.m. local time in Germany. I think they're 7 hours ahead. 3-0 pitch, that's away. It's ball 4. So after a single, it's a walk to Sue Lin. And now Matthews found himself in some trouble here in the bottom of the 5th.
Now batting for the Ducks, second baseman, number 47, Trevor Achenbach.
Trevor Achenbach will come to the plate. Matthews thrown only 64 pitches here across 4 1/3. 35 strikes and 29 balls. It's honestly a much closer ratio than I would have expected. Pitch from Matthews on the ground over toward third base. It is a fair ball on to second. They get 1 out. That's all they'll get. A good throw from Santiago Chirino there, who had to field that ball a little bit awkwardly over at third base. What was nearly a base hit from Trevor Achenbach, but well fielded by Chirino, and a good throw to second. Looked like he checked at third base and didn't think he'd have a play to get Vladimir Frias. So there are 2 away in the bottom of the 5th. Alejandro De Aza digs in. De Aza, probably the biggest bat in that Ducks order, and he's 2 for 2 today. A couple of RBIs, or a couple of singles, including 1 RBI. And a chance to add another one here as the pitch is a little bit low and away. The count 1-0. The Blue Crabs can't shift here, which means if you're Matthews, you probably just want to pitch on the outer half of the plate, make it a little tougher for him to pull. And he is a straight pull hitter. Count 1-0 on De Aza. The Ducks would rather have no one else at the plate. 1-0 pitch is low. Count 2-0. You can pitch around a guy, but what you don't want to have happen is you pitch around a guy and then get to LJ Mazzilli next, and Mazzilli tears into one and makes this ball game a lot closer. If you end up surrendering a 2-out hit, you end up surrendering a 2-out hit that scores a run. But what you really don't want to do is find yourself in a lot more trouble by pitching around a guy and end up walking him. 2-0 pitch, that's away, count 3-0, and then you got to question the control. What does that look like from Matthews? 4-pitch walk to Sue Lin. First pitch ground out to Achenbach on a pitch that was in the zone. And now a 3-0 count on De Aza. Here's the pitch. Low, gets by Haug, and now the runner coming to the plate. The throw is wide, gets past Matthews, and they're going to stay put. A run does come in and score on a wild pitch, though. That one looked like it went through the legs of Haug to the backstop, as Matthews' control has been questionable here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Might be time for a meeting here, just calm things down a little bit. The control has not been where it needs to be here in the bottom of the 5th inning.
13, LJ Mazzilli.
And here comes LJ Mazzilli. Well, Matthews topped out at 92 today. Average has been right around 90 with a 4-seam fastball. He's a 2-pitch guy, 4-seam fastball and a slider. First pitch called strike on the outside corner, and the count 0-1. 7-2, the Blue Crabs lead over the Ducks. Oh, 0-1 offering from Matthews. Foul ball. First base side of the count 0-2. 2 runs on 5 hits and 2 walks for the Ducks through 4 2/3. Well, we talked about not wanting to pitch around a guy because you'd load the bases. Well, it didn't load the bases. In fact, it scored a run as the pitch was low in the dirt. Matthew's got some room to work now. 0-2 pitch. Ground ball foul off of that shin guard on his left foot. Count 0-2. Let's see if we have any other answers to our trivia question for the most consecutive seasons by a player with a 300 batting average or more. Ty Cobb did it, but how many consecutive seasons was it? Eric Shellhouse, if you'd like to answer. Part of the Bat Boys baseball group on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. Definitely go and check them out. 0-2 pitch upcoming to LJ Mazzilli. Marathew gets a sign from Haug. Comes set at the chest. 0-2. A little bit low and away. Count 1-2. Seven to 2, the Blue Crabs lead here in the fifth. All games from here on out are just to finish the season out. No playoff or standings implications as the 1-2 pitch is low and away. Count 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Bottom 5, 7-2 Blue Crabs. And the delivery is low and in. Count 3-2. This is when control starts to become a factor. Marathew, someone who generally does not walk a lot of batters. On the year, he has 1.9 walks per 9, but both of the runners on base, the runner on first and the runner on second, both there via walks. 3-2. Runners go. Line drive, a left field. That's a base hit. It's Sundberg who charges in. He's going to fire to the plate. The throw is cut off. An RBI single for LJ Mazzilli. It's 7-3. That's a pitch out over the middle of the plate, and it's a 7-3 ball game. It's an RBI single from LJ Mazzilli, and now it's a 7-3 ball game. 2 runs in for the Ducks in the bottom of the 5th inning as Marathew has started to struggle here in the inning. 3 runs on 6 hits now in this ball game for the Ducks, paired with a pair of walks. 7-3 Blue Crabs as Jose Sermo digs in from the left side. First pitch from Marathew. Ground ball over to second. This should do it. Weakly hit. It's Wolanski who tosses to first on a sidearm, and it's in time to end the inning. The Ducks scored 2 runs. They strand 2 at the end of 5 innings of play. It's the Blue Crabs who have a 7-3 lead over the Ducks. You're listening to Blue Crabs Baseball on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Duck threads in front of each of them. We have first the long.
Maybe the Pioneer League and the top maybe 3 or 4 from the American Association, the top teams here in the Atlantic League come and compete. Would you be in favor of a sort of independent Champions League tournament?
Yes, I think it's a pretty cool idea. The only thing it will change is because in the other leagues, the classifications for players, you know, and most of some of the other leagues are a lot of more younger players than this league, you know. So some leagues will have the advantage of it, you know what I'm saying? But I think like if they want to do a tournament like that and talk about it, you know, they can make a selection after the season and get, you know, the people better on the league and then trying to compete against the other league. I think it will be a good tournament and people can see what's the best league and for independent baseball in America too. That will be cool.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. A couple guys for the Blue Crabs now playing overseas. Would you ever like to have the opportunity to represent your country? 4 guys from the Blue Crabs this year playing for Team Great Britain. It's a pretty cool opportunity for them.
Yeah, I think that's one of my dreams to represent my country. but also from the country that I'm from, it's a little harder because it's a lot of players in the MLB, you know, and they're gonna play for that team. So you have to be competing with superstars, basically. But you know, I'm still playing. You never know. You know, baseball it's up and down. So I would love to play for my country, and I would love to play on that tournament. But right now I'm here. You know, right now I'm here, and I'm ready to play this 5 game in the playoff.
One last question here. This is our last your opinion question here. And it is, there's been questions right now around the MLB as to whether they should shorten the season, whether they should keep it at 162 games, or what they should exactly do. Some people said they should only play 100 games, only play 120. How long should the Major League Baseball season be? Do you think 162? Do you think it's something shorter? What's the magic number there?
Hey, I think 162 games is a lot. I played before on a league that was 142, and it was a lot of games, you know. Also, if you short the games down, the records, it will be impossible to break and all that kind of stuff, you know. But I think less game. I would say 120, it will be a good amount of games.
Well, Michael Baca digs in from the right side. As it'll be 9-1-2 to come to the plate for the Blue Crabs in the top of the 6th. First pitch up and away in the count, 1 ball and no strikes. It's Chris Pike, the new pitcher on the mound for the Long Island Ducks. And the pitch from Pike inside in the count, 2 balls and no strikes now on Braxton Lee. The velocity very low from Pike on a couple of pitches. And the pitch, that's outside. Count 3-0, 3 curveballs and 3 misses at 70, 72, and probably about 73. The 3-0 pitch. That's a called strike. Baca was already walking over to first base, but he was called back by the home plate umpire in today's ball game, Mike Williams. Three-one from Pike. Line drive. This one right at the right fielder, who now has to take a couple of steps back. That's Dustin Woodcock, who makes the catch overhead. And there's one away.
Left fielder, number 9, Jack Sundberg.
And here comes Jack Sundberg. Blue Crabs lead 7-3 in the top of the 6th inning. I'd imagine that you'll start to see some action in the Blue Crabs pen in the 6th. I think ideally Merrithew gets through 6, and then you can go to that back end with Baker, Dykstra, Briseño, Latos, and use a combination of those 4 guys to try to get the win tonight. And first pitch, breaking ball, called strike. With 1 away in the top of the 6th. The Blue Crabs bats have been quiet since the first inning. 6 runs on 9 hits in the first. Since then, 1 run on 5 hits. And the pitch, that's outside. It looks like he's lazily tossing the ball because he doesn't want to put his full effort in. I'm sure that's not the case. It's sort of just the way and the style that Chris Pike goes about pitching the baseball. But it seems as though he's not even giving his full effort. Like it's some sort of almost like they're knuckleballs. The pitch is a called strike too. I don't think Pike is a knuckleballer though. Let me just make sure here. Unless maybe it is. Pitch swinging a high fly ball, deep center field, sends De Aza back. He's in front of the warning track where he makes the catch. And there are 2 away.
Second baseman, number 12, Michael Wolanski.
Michael Wolanski digs in. First pitch. It's away. I think it is a knuckleball, actually, at that. There's no way he's just throwing curveballs here. They're listed as curveballs, but they look far too much like knuckleballs to be a curveball. And just the motion of his as a pitcher, 1-0 pitch is away, count 2-0. It's got to be a knuckleball. Again, they're listed as curveballs as our TrackMan, but I have a hard time believing they're curveballs. 2-0 pitch upcoming to Michael Wolanski. Here's the offering. It's low on the count, 3 balls and no strikes. There's not much movement on the ball. It's a little hard to tell from where I am, just distance-wise from the plate, to detect a pitch and the lack of spin on the pitch. But it looks just far too much like a knuckleball for that to be anything else. Pitch, fastball low and away. It's ball 4. So Pike walks Michael Wolanski.
Right fielder, number 24, Jared Walker.
And Jared Walker will come to the plate with 1 on and 2 outs. Walker takes a practice swing and we'll dig in. 7-3, the Blue Crabs over the Ducks. And the pitch called strike, and the count 0-1 on Jared Walker. Pike on the year has a 4.70 earned run average. And the pitch called strike, count 0-2 now on Jared Walker. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Chris Pike played as high as AAA Durham in 2019. And the pitch, swinging a high fly ball, shallow left center field. It's LJ Mazzilli who drifts over toward the line and makes the catch for the final out in the top of the 6th inning. The Blue Crabs had 1 base runner via a walk, so they strand 1, they score none. At the end of 5.5, it's 7-3 Blue Crabs on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Ready to find solutions that push us forward. Ready to take on today's challenges and take charge of our future.
To play on a season plus playoff. So playoff is a little earlier, right, so people can watch it and not wait till it's cold out, and then players can play a little better because it's not as cold.
The other thing that people were saying was you have more off days if you play fewer games. So instead of playing 6 games a week, maybe you play 5 games a week, which means the stars play more. You don't have to worry about, oh, is Mike Trout going to play today? Is Aaron Judge going to be in the lineup, or is it a day off for him? Because players get days off because there are more days off during the course of a schedule as opposed to playing every single day. And some people think that's going to increase viewership and increase, more fans, especially younger fans. Do you think that's right, that it would increase, viewership for fewer games?
Yes, I think that's right. I think shorten games down. I think people will watch more games because it's not going to be as long, Sometimes 162 games is hard to follow. I think less games, that will make it a little more interesting. I will say, too, that I would like to be less games, but I would like to more teams on the playoff. So right, make a bigger playoff round, and more teams can enjoy it. And
how many teams are you looking for?
They say it's 32 teams, so I will say 30 teams. So I would say 12.
12 teams. Okay.
12, I think, is a good amount. Right. It will be more opportunities for other teams, and I think it's gonna be fun to watch, like the Big Ten for basketball and right, college. It's a big tournament that people watch it. If you make a big tournament like that for playoff, like a huge more with more teams, more fans, I think it will be better for baseball.
We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. It is the Blue Crabs 7 and the Ducks 3. And the bottom of the 6th for Carlos Castro, who will get things started. It is Castro followed by Woodcock and DiCarlo. And Marathon comes set. First pitch, line drive, hard hit into left field for a base hit. So runner on first base with nobody out. To get things started in the bottom of the 6th, Castro 1 for 3 today after the base hit. So Woodcock now comes to the plate. He's 0 for 2 tonight.
The right fielder, number 15, Justin.
Well, a couple of things you got to get to here. The first of which is the trivia question tonight. So the question again is, what's the most consecutive seasons by a player with a 300 batting average or better? Ty Cobb did it, but the question is how many years? Wes Mumper guesses 24, Eric Shellhouse 20. And the pitch is low. Count 1 ball and no strikes on Dustin Woodcock. I'm not sure if you heard it moments ago from Santiago Chirino. He said, well, he thought it might be someone more recent, but then he said, it's probably someone from a long, long time ago. And he's right. It's Ty Cobb a long, long time ago. He guessed only, I believe it was 11 straight or 13 straight seasons, he said, something like that. 8's a lot. I mean, in modern baseball, at least 8 is a ton. Go back to the 1800s and the early 1900s, and you'd see it more commonly. 1-1 pitch. A little up and away, count 2-1. You might think Tony Gwynn Jr., another candidate there. Maybe a Ted Williams. And you're looking for the most recent that there is. 2-1 pitch. Popped up in the infield. It is Joe DeLuca who takes charge and makes the catch about 30 feet away from home plate in fair territory. And there's one away.
Now batting for the Ducks, the catcher, number 2, Joe DiCarlo.
I said Tony Gwynn Jr. I meant Tony Gwynn Sr. As he was a career .338 hitter. And how many consecutive years did he have? Looks as though he had 18 consecutive years hitting 300 or higher. 1983 through 2001. And the first pitch to Carlos, a called strike. Hit .394 in 1994. Tony Gwynn Sr. placed as high as 3rd in the MVP voting. That was back in '84. As Matthew tosses over to first base. As he checks on Carlos Castro. Or I beg your pardon, that's Dustin Woodcock. Pitch low. Throw down a second to Carlo. Did they get him? Yes, he did. Oh, what a play. What a throw from Ryan Haug as he gets Carlos Castro trying to steal second base. Ryan Haug fired down to second and Carlos Castro thrown out. No balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. Oh-2 pitch. That's low and away. Count 1-2. Joe DiCarlo taps home plate once. 1-2. Ball, hard fastball low and away. Count 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. And the 2-2, that's a little low. Count 3 balls and 2 strikes. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs on Joe DiCarlo. But the base path is now empty after Carlos Castro is caught stealing. Pitch. High pop up, first base side, long run. That one's going to find the seats. Lands about 10 rows deep in the seats down the first base side. Over toward one of those bouncy castles. You know, when you're a kid, those are fun. I mean, I couldn't imagine going back inside one of those now, though. I don't think. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Well, fans, if you have any other answers, put them in now. We're going to cut off the answers here at the end of the 6th. I'll give you the answer top of the 7th. Pitch, swinging a high fly ball. This one belted a deep left. Back to the warning track at the wall. That ball's way out of here off the legal side of the left. A solo shot from Joe DiCarlo. It's 7-4. As Alex Merrithew has faltered a little bit here in the bottom of the 6th. The Ducks scored 2 in the 5th and 1 in the 6th. That solo home run off the Lido sign makes it a 7-4 ball game. And Stan Clyburn looks like he's probably seen enough. He's going to go make that call to the bullpen unless he just wants to have a conversation here in the infield, but I think that's going to do it. Haven't seen any official signal yet. And there it is. He's going to take the ball from Alex Merrithew, who goes 5 2/3, allows 4 runs on 8 hits. He walks 2. Not his best performance of the year, but the Blue Crabs have a strong bullpen to back him up. And we will let you know who is entering the ball game when we come back. And the 6th inning with 2 outs and the base path's empty. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Blue Crabs Baseball on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
This is Nick Wells, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Now batting for the Ducks, third baseman, number 1, Vladimir Frias.
Well, Connor Law enters the ball game for the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs. As the Blue Crabs have a 7-4 lead in the bottom of the 6th inning. And Connor Law, who recently joined Southern Maryland from the Staten Island Ferry Hawks, has a 1-2 record, a 3.21 earned run average. And the pitch called strike on the inner half, and the count 0-1. One run in for the Long Island Ducks already on a solo shot from Joe DiCarlo. Pitch is up and in, count 1 ball and 1 strike. Stan Clyburn wanted to make sure that his bullpen would have a really good chance against the Ducks tonight. He didn't want to put anything up to chance. 1-1 pitch. Low and in the dirt. The count 2-1. Be interested to see what route the Blue Crabs go in the 7th. If Connor Law is able to get out of this jam, which, I mean, there are 2 outs. He needs to get just 1 out. Then does Stan Clyburn go back to Law in the 7th? Does he go to Baker? Does he go to Dykstra? What direction does he go in? I think that will really signal what he's got in the back end. 2-1 pitch, foul back, and the count 2-2. If he goes to Baker in the 7th, and Dykstra, that would probably mean he goes Dykstra in the 8th and Briseño in the 9th. But if it's Briseño, if he goes to Dykstra in the 7th, he probably goes Briseño Latos in the 9th. 2-2 pitch. Called strike 3. Connor Law faces 1 batter. He strikes out 1 batter. And that ends the bottom of the 6th inning. It's 7-4 Blue Crabs over the Ducks. We go to the top of the 7th in the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
This is Michael Baca, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
All right, well, we are ready to go in the top of the 7th inning, 7-4 Blue Crabs. Now, a couple of things to mention as the first pitch, swinging a foul tip in the count 0-1 on David Harris. One thing to mention here, and it is the answer to our trivia question. As our question was, what's the most consecutive 300 batting average seasons for a player? As the 0-1 pitch is called strike, or to rephrase that, what's the most consecutive seasons by a player with a 300 batting average or better? The answer of who did it was Ty Cobb, but how many seasons? That's the question. Pitch, swinging a high fly ball, shallow left field. And it is the left fielder, L.J. Mazzilli, who's there to make the catch for the first out. So 1 away now in the top of the 7th inning. And a 7-4 ball game. And Joe DeLuca comes to the plate. But back to that last question, as I had mentioned moments ago, about the The most consecutive seasons with a 300 batting average. Ty Cobb did it for 23 straight years. So Eric Shellhouse guessed 20. Wes Mumper said 24. The answer 23. So we're not going Price is Right rules, I don't think. But Eric's got to get a nod because he got the player right. Pitch, swinging a high fly ball. Deep right field. It's fair. It's gone. That ball is a foul ball. Oh, that ball was blasted to right. Would have been a solo shot for Joe DeLuca, but just a little bit foul. And DeLuca digs back in. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Here's the pitch. Check swing, foul in the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Anderson De Leon, the new pitcher for the Long Island Ducks, I should say. De Leon with a 5.52 earned run average. And the 1-2 pitch. Oh, we'll have to wait. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 away. I think they're trying to get the wave going here. I don't think there are enough fans to get the wave going. As the pitch is low and the count 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Blue Crabs have gotten it going a couple of times. 2-2. Swinging a foul tip off the bat of DeLuca, and the count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. Deflected off of the cleat of Joe DiCarlo, and then back behind him. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 1 away. Infield at straightaway depth. The top of the 7th, Blue Crabs looking to get out of here with a victory. 2-2 pitch. Check swing, did he go? Yes, he did, according to the third base umpire. That's Michael Herring. There are 2 away in the top of the 7th. Let's give you some of the numbers on the final lines for your pitchers today. Marathon goes 5 2/3 innings. He allows 8 hits, 4 earned runs, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. For Long Island, Scott Harkin, 5 innings, 14 hits, 7 runs. Blue Crabs did not get a hit off of Pike and have not gotten a hit yet off of De Leon. First pitch in there for a swinging strike, and there is no balls and 1 strike. 0-1. Wave and a miss, count 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Two-two pitch. Popped it up foul, third base side. Count remains 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Here's the pitch to Collier. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Collier goes down swinging, and that ends the top of the 7th inning. It's time to get up and stretch for the 7th inning stretch. Blue Crabs bats retired in order here in the top of the 7th. Have to see what the Blue Crabs do here as they're going to make the call to the bullpen. We'll find out when we come back on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
This is Alex Crosby, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
At Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, mortgages are what they do, not who they are. Fairway Mortgage Corporation is a proud partner of the American Warrior Initiative. A key part of this initiative is to educate, encourage, and inspire Americans to give back to our military. Visit their website at www.americanwarriorinitiative.com for more details. Our military fought to protect the American dream. Let's help them live it.
Well, as you might have figured from the long pause between innings, there is a new pitcher in the ballgame. It is Patrick Baker who enters for Southern Maryland. Baker has a 5-2 record, a 2.01 earned run average, and the first pitch is a hard fastball in there for a called strike on Sue-Wei Lin, who is the leadoff hitter for the Long Island Ducks. Baker, the 0-1. Low and in, count 1-1. And I don't think this tells you 100%. I think you probably have a better idea if we see Dykstra come out for the 8th. But I don't think that with what's going on, you're going to see Latos tonight. 1-1 pitch, called strike on the inner half, count 1-2. I think the purpose there of what we saw was if Baker comes in the 7th inning, then you'll see Dykstra for the 8th, and you'll see Briseño for the 9th. 1-2. Swinging a chopper back up the middle. Going to be a tough play. Wolanski fields. He throws to first. It's not close. Infield single for Sue-Wei Lin. And there's nobody on and nobody out. One on and nobody out in the bottom of the 7th inning. And Trevor Achenbach will come to the plate. Velocity is a little lower than we've seen from Baker. Again, this is a guy who has touched 100 in prior years. At 93 right now, again, he's a guy who has thrown 95 and 96 for most of the year. 93 does seem a little low for him. Pitch. Looked close. Called a ball by the home plate umpire, Mike Williams. And the count 1-0. Maybe a little low and away. On a 94-mile-an-hour sinker. Well, Sue-Wei Lin from first pitch. That's low and away. Count 2-0 now from Baker. This is going to be Baker's inning here, but I think in some case you're probably going to have Dykstra enter probably in the 8th, and then you go to Briseño likely for the 9th. But you might have to mix things up a little bit. 2-0 pitch. Swinging a high pop-up. This is in the infield. It is Joe DeLuca, who's right over at first base, who tries to drop it and catch it and make the out. You can't do that. He was going to try to double off the runner. And you can't do that. It was a smart play by Joe DeLuca. The ball was right next to first base, and he dropped the ball and tried to tag out the runner and then step on first base, but you're not allowed to do that. You don't try to catch the ball. It's against the rules, so. There is one away in the bottom of the 7th inning now. A heads-up play by DeLuca, but the first base umpire, Joe Iglio, was all over it. And here is Alejandro De Aza, who's 2 for 2 today with a walk, as Baker tosses over to first base. Check on the runner. They've seen a lot more consistency from Matt Latos, especially recently. And the runner goes, pitch ground ball down the first base side, foul. And the count, no balls and 1 strike on De Aza. Alejandro De Aza played 9 years in Major League Baseball. Last played in the MLB in 2016. Beg your pardon, 2017, briefly with the Nationals. Spent most of the 2017 season in AAA. And the pitch, that's a called strike. Throw it out at second. It gets past Baca into center field. And the base runner trips up. That's Sue Lin. And he steals second base. As the pitch was a little low. Very good throw from Ryan Haug. And Baca's glove a little too high to try to receive that ball on a pick. On a hop at least, I should say. Well, in 2019, Alejandro De Aza was signed at 35 years old by the Minnesota Twins after he started the year in the Atlantic League with New Britain, hit .346. And then Minnesota picked him up, hit .352 in AAA across 35 games. And with Lancaster last year, hit .322. This year with the Ducks, hits .342. Count 1-1 on De Aza. Baker, the offering. Slow, count 2 balls and a strike. Give you an idea on the velocity from Patrick Baker in this at bat. It is up. We started at 93. He's up to 95 now. So just took a few pitches. Some of those warm-up tosses, I guess, weren't quite enough. Two-one. Shot foul on the ground, first base side, count 2-2. Bottom of the 7th, 7-4 Blue Crabs. Southern Maryland 7, Long Island 4. York has a 6-0 lead over Lancaster. That's in the bottom of the 7th. Bottom of the 5th, Staten Island 10, Wild Health 9. And the bottom of the 6th is Gastonia 11 and High Point nothing. Charleston and Lexington decided to play 7 innings today for I'm not quite sure what reason, but they did. And it went into extra innings, they had to play 8. 6-5 Charleston final. Only a couple of games have any meaning at all the rest of the way. We'll get there in a moment. A 1-2 pitch upcoming to Alejandro De Aza. Pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. Breaking ball, and Haug has to fire to first to get De Aza, and there are 2 outs now. Big strikeout for Patrick Baker, who goes low in the dirt to get a swing and a miss from Alejandro De Aza.
Left fielder, number 13, LJ Mazzilli.
And LJ Mazzilli comes to the plate. Mazzilli, the cleanup hitter, against Patrick Baker. Baker comes set. First pitch. That's low. It's in the dirt. And the count 1-0. Yeah, terrific slider low and in the dirt to get the swing and the miss from De Aza. Well, Baker's faced 3 batters. He allowed an infield single, a pop out, and a strikeout. Now it's a deal with Mazzilli, though. Breaking ball in there for a called strike, and the count 1-1 on LJ Mazzilli. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs. Again, you'd have to think it's probably going to be Dykstra up in the 8th and then Briseño in the 9th. As the pitch, chopper over to shortstop, fielded by Baca, throw to first in time, nicely scooped by Joe DeLuca. And that ends the bottom of the 7th inning. Well, the Ducks had 1 hit, they strand 1 at the end of 7. It's the Blue Crabs 7 and the Ducks 4 on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
This is Nick Wells, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Come stay at the Holiday Inn Express Waldorf, where teamwork makes the dream work. A proud sponsor of the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs and your home away from home. The Holiday Inn Express is located at 11,370 Days Court. That's 11370 Days Court, Waldorf, near the Waldorf Shoppers World Shopping Center. Call 301-932-9200 to make a reservation or look us up at ihg.com or on the IHG app. Come put your feet up and enjoy the complimentary free breakfast and indoor heated pool at the Holiday Inn Express, Waldorf.
Well, Santiago Chirino digs in to get things going in the top of the 8th. First pitch is a little bit low, and the count 1 ball and no strikes on the righty. Pitch popped him up, shallow right field. It's the first baseman, Sermo, who's into foul territory, and he makes the catch. There's 1 away. So Chirino pops out, and Ryan Haug will come to the plate against Anderson De Leon, who's back out for his 2nd inning of work. And meanwhile, the Blue Crabs pitching staff, you have to imagine you're going to go and see guys like Dykstra and Briseño down the stretch. And I think this is probably what you're going to be looking at for the postseason as well. And the pitch, pop fly, shallow right center field. This one tailing and finds the seats. And the count 0-1. Just to give you some updates from around the Atlantic League, it's only the top of the 6th in the Genomes Staten Island game, where the Genomes have tied it at 10. 0-1 pitch, foul back, count 0-2. Well, at one point, it was a 9-3 lead for the Genomes, and Staten Island responded with 6 runs in the bottom of the 4th. Staten Island took a 10-9 lead in the 5th, and Wild Health tied it at 10 here in the 6th. 0-2 pitch, check swing, did he go? No, he did not. Count 1 ball and 2 strikes on Ryan Haug. Check swing, did he go? No, that pitch is away, and he did not go. Managed to hold up. And the count is 2-2. He thought about going, managed to certainly check his swing that time. Not even worth an appeal. 2-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. Breaking ball fell low and out of the zone, and there are 2 away in the top of the 8th. 7-4 Blue Crabs still. Blue Crabs scored 6 in the first. They scored 1 in the 4th. The bats have gone silent since. Blue Crabs have not gotten a hit off of any Ducks reliever. A 10-10 game on Staten Island in the 6th. And it's Anderson De Leon who fires the first pitch upstairs in the count 1-0 on Baca. 1 ball, no strikes, 2 outs. Here's the 1-0. Foul ball grounded to the first base side. Count 1-1. One ball, 1 strike, 2 outs. 1-1 pitch. That's up and away. Count 2-1. Two balls, 1 strike, 2 outs. Base paths are empty. And 2-1. That big swing and a miss on a pitch a little low and out of the zone. Count 2-2 as that slider was running away from Baca. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Blue Crabs lead 7-4 over the Ducks. Now the 2-2 pitch, swing a high pop up toward right field. And it is the right fielder, Dustin Woodcock, who's there and makes the catch for the final out. That ends the top of the 8th inning. Another 1-2-3 inning for the 7, 8, and 9 hitters. As we go to the bottom of the 8th inning, it's the Blue Crabs who still have a 3-run lead. They lead it 7-4. Stick with us. You're listening to Blue Crabs Baseball on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
This is Michael Baca, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Jose Sermo will dig in to get things started in the bottom of the 8th inning against James Dykstra, who enters for Southern Maryland. Give you the numbers on James Dykstra in just one moment as the first pitch from the righty in there for a called strike, count 0-1. Well, Dykstra 0-2 on the year. He has not allowed an earned run yet, has a 0 ERA, has 0.77 whip. Across 8 appearances, 9 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, no earned runs, 3 walks, and 8 strikeouts. Pitch. It's a breaking ball, swing and a miss, and the count 0-2. Dykstra's been very, very good this year. In his limited time with Southern Maryland. Pitched in Mexico. Later pitched in AAA with the Lehigh Valley, the AAA affiliate of the Phillies, and the 0-2 pitch gets a little away from him and sails up and away for ball 1. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Fastball from Dykstra at 95. Well, 1-2 pitch. That's away. Count 2-2. 96, 95, and 96 on the fastballs. Some serious heat behind those from Dykstra. 2 balls, 2 strikes, nobody out on Sermo. Who will be followed by Carlos Castro, and Dustin Woodcock. 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Breaking ball low and out of the zone. And Sermo swings through it. There is 1 away. James Dykstra faces 1 batter. He strikes out a batter. And the ability for the Blue Crabs to go through that progression of these 4 pitchers we'll probably see tonight. Between Connor Law, who comes in as that 4th guy in the 6th, and then going from him to Patrick Baker, who allowed just an infield single, to James Dykstra, to Endris Briseño. I mean, you have almost full confidence in all of those guys to pitch well. Dykstra, first pitch. Little away, and the count 1-0. 1 ball, no strikes. And 1 away on Carlos Castro. And here is the 1-0. That's away, count 2-0. 2 balls, no strikes, and 1 out. As Dykstra falling behind in the count, 2-0, stares down his catcher Howe, gets the sign. 2-0 pitch, fouled off. The count 2-1. For Dykstra. Again, 9 innings of work so far on the year with the Blue Crabs. 16 strikeouts. That's wild. 16 strikeouts across 9 innings. He's been really good recently. 2-1. It's away. Count 3-1. Three balls, one strike, one out. As James Dykstra faces Carlos Castro. Three balls, one strike, one out. 7-4, the Blue Crabs over the Ducks. In the bottom of the 8th inning, Dykstra's fallen behind in the count 3-1. Pitch is low and away, it's ball 4. Just the 4th walk issued by James Dykstra with the Blue Crabs so far this season. There's a runner on first base with one out. This is a big game for the Blue Crabs. Big game for the Blue Crabs record books as well. If they win tonight, they would tie the all-time most wins in a season in Blue Crabs history at 82. 81-45. They can tie it tonight if they win. If they win tomorrow, they could break it. Of course, in a much shorter season, they played 139 back in 2010 when they went 82-57. Pitch on the ground, a second, could be two, should be two on a second for one. Back on a first, not in time, as Dustin Woodcock runs well and breaks up the double play. You get the sense that Wolanski didn't field that completely cleanly, kind of handcuffed him up toward the waist. And the flip to second took a little longer than he may have hoped for, which may have also contributed. But there are two away with one on here in the bottom of the 8th. 3-run lead for the Blue Crabs as DeCarlo steps in from the right side. Give you an update in that Wild Health Genomes versus Staten Island game. It's 11-10 Wild Health. Pitch foul back from Joe DeCarlo, count 0-1. And then you have to go and check out the standings in the Atlantic League. So it's a little confusing, but to try to make things as clear as they can be, the North Division's set. Lancaster clinched last night. They've got a 7-game lead in the second half over the Blue Crabs. That's done. Blue Crabs clinched in the first half, so they don't have to worry about the second half. 0-1 pitch, swing and a miss, count 0-2 now on DeCarlo. Now in the South Division, Gastonia is about to clinch the second half in addition to their first half clinch. Now the wild card is between High Point and Kentucky. Now High Point has a 5.5 game lead over Kentucky. And the pitch, that's outside, count 1-2. Now High Point has just 5 games to go. Kentucky has 6. So Kentucky would have to win out, and High Point would have to lose out. Count 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, at least for tonight, that looks like that will hold. 1-2 pitch is low. Count 2-2 now on DeCarlo. So the Wild Health Genomes would need a win out. They'd need High Point to lose out. So it looks very unlikely for them at this point, but I guess you never know. Stranger things have happened. They would need 11 consecutive results to go their way between their wins and High Point's losses. High Point playing Gastonia. 2-2 pitch. Called strike 3. Joe DeCarlo goes down looking. Strikeouts 17 and 18 for Dykstra across just 10 innings of work for the Blue Crabs. He's put forth some terrific efforts, and he sends down the Long Island Ducks here in the bottom of the 8th inning. James Dykstra took 16 pitches to strike out 2 batters and retire to the side. We're done with 8. It's 7-4 Blue Crabs on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
This is Ryan Haug, and you're listening to the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network.
Well, the top of the Blue Crabs order will come to the plate against Patrick Quinn in the top of the 9th inning. Tyler Webb went last night, so it's Patrick Quinn in tonight. Last time out, 2 innings of work, 5 hits, 6 runs from the righty. And the first pitch to the leadoff hitter, Jack Sundberg, is away for ball 1. Count 1 ball and no strikes. Patrick Quinn has a 9.82 ERA. Not exactly who you want in the game if you want to keep this ball game close. I think the Blue Crabs will probably send Briseño to get up and warming, as the first pitch is a called, or the 1-0 pitch is a called strike. Count 1-1. Sundberg 1 for 4 today with an RBI. Wolanski's 2 for 3 with a walk. He's on deck. We followed by Walker, who's 2 for 4 with an RBI. And the pitch is low, and the count 2 balls and 1 strike. Also came inside on Jack Sundberg. So Wolanski 2 for 3, Walker 2 for 4, Harris 3 for 4, DeLuca 1 for 4, Collier 1 for 4, Chirino 2 for 4, Haug 1 for 4, and Baca 1 for 4. Everybody's got a hit. They all came back in the first inning, too. Pitch, swinging a high fly ball, shallow center. It's Deaza who jumps on his horse, and he tracks it down. And there's 1 away. You know the expression, jumps on his horse. Should we find another animal there to replace it with, something faster than a horse? I never thought about that. I mean, you can't really ride another animal, though. I guess horse really is your only option. It's one of those old expressions. It probably, and I think it's a fair one. And the pitch to Wolanski. That's a little low. Count 1 ball and no strikes on the righty. Sundberg finishes 1 for 5 tonight, as Wolanski, who is 2 for 3, digs in. And the 1-0 pitch, up and in, count 2-0. Two balls, no strikes, 1 out, 7-4 Blue Crabs. Blue Crabs scored 6 in the first. The Ducks got 1 back in the bottom of the first. Blue Crabs made it 7-1 in the fourth. Since then, their bats have been very quiet. 7 runs on 14 hits across the first 4 innings of work. 2-0 pitch, that's low, count 3-0. Blue Crabs have not had a hit since the 5th inning. That basically says all you need to know about the way this offense has been functioning in the 6th, 7th, and 8th. Fifth inning was the last inning for Scott Harkin. I beg your pardon, the Blue Crabs had all 14 hits by the 4th inning. Pitch 3-0 is low and away. It's ball 4. And Wolanski has his 2nd walk of the day. It's his 4th time on base today, including 2 hits. And Southern Maryland will send Jared Walker to the plate. Walker will dig in from the left side. Walker's out in right field tonight. The Blue Crabs trying to find a spot to put him in the field, as first base kind of taken with DeLuca, and you can't move DeLuca anywhere else. And then right field opens up. Third base now taken. Pitch, ground ball over to first. Throw to first is in time. Throw to second got him as well. A 3-6 double play, as Jared Walker hit a hard ground ball at first base. Jose Sermo fielded and fired to Sue-Wei Lin to end the top of the 9th inning. Patrick Quinn with an unorthodox 1-2-3 inning as he faces the minimum. As Patrick Quinn did walk a batter along the way, but induced a double play ball to Jared Walker. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning. When we come back, we'll break down the numbers on the new pitcher for the Blue Crabs. It's Andres Briseño who will try to pick up the save. Don't go anywhere.
This is Alex Crosby. This is Alex Crosby, and you're listening.
Vladimir Frias comes to the plate in the bottom of the ninth inning. The Blue Crabs 7, the Ducks 4. As Andres Briseño looks for his 10th save of the year, a 0.77 earned run average for the Blue Crabs closer tonight. It'll be 9-1-2 to the dish. Frias followed by Sue Lin and Trevor Achenbach. And the first pitch. Upstairs, count 1-0. You look at a guy like Latos, primarily two pitches, a hard fastball and a solid slider. Also has a changeup he'll mix in from time to time. 1-0 pitch, wave and a miss, another hard fastball, count 1-1 that time. Hard fastball blown past Frias, who took a healthy hack. Briseño set. Here is the 1-1. Swing on a line drive, foul back behind home plate. The count 1-2. Briseño a 0.77 earned run average. The numbers jump off the page in a big way for the power righty. He and Dykstra have really been big pieces down the stretch this season. And to have Baker in that 7th inning role, Dykstra in the 8th inning, and now Briseño in the 9th. 1-2 pitch, chop foul over to the Ducks bullpen, or dugout, I should say, in the count 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes. Nobody out on Vladimir Frias. Briseño comes set. Here's the 1-2 to Frias. Buries a slider in the count 2-2. He's got a pitch to work with. Makes sense. I mean, to go to the breaking ball there, try to induce a swing and a miss. Velocity does seem down here from, oh, I beg your pardon. Velocity is where it normally is, 95, 96 to 98. Pitch is upstairs, count 3 balls and 2 strikes. And now he's got a bit of an issue with Frias here. He's got to try to get him going with something, or maybe go with a high fastball, but might need to throw a strike here against Frias. Count 3 and 2. Pitch, swinging a high pop up on the fastball. It's Carino over to the Blue Crabs dugout, who makes the catch. Santiago Chirino got over to the Blue Crabs dugout in time to make the catch on a pop-up down the third base line. Now last fastball at 97 from Briseño.
25, Two-way Lynn.
The fastball has a lot of action on it. It's a really good sinker. That's been the story of the year so far for Andres Briseño. 96, 97 on the fastball. And the first pitch now to Sue Lin. Check swing, did he go? Yes, he did. Count 0-1. Over in the Wild Health versus Staten Island game, 12-10 Genomes. Last series of the year for the Genomes will be against Lexington, while High Point will play York. And the 0-1 pitch, swing and a miss, count 0-2. Well, that's an important series because, again, the Genomes need to win out and they need High Point to lose out. It looks like tonight they'll have that happen if they can hold on against Staten Island, but they still need to win the final 5 and need High Point to lose the final 4. 0-2 pitch, called strike 3. Power to fastball right past Sue Lin. I don't think quite knew what it hit him, and there are 2 away. You want a quick strikeout, that's what Briseño just gave you. 3 pitches, and Sue Lin was not about to make any contact. The former big leaguer goes down on strikes. Frias put up a pretty competitive at bat. Sue Lin did not. Achenbach now comes to the plate with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th inning. Blue Crabs trying to tie a franchise record at 82 wins. First pitch breaking ball for a called strike. And there were 2 of those fastballs to Sue Lin were at 97. Briseño, 0-1. Breaking ball, swing and a miss. That was outstanding. He goes to that breaking ball. It's a slider, it's a curve. And it's really, really good, especially when you compare it to a 96, 97 mile an hour fastball. 1 hopper over to second. Wolanski's got it. He flips to first, and that does it. A 1-2-3 9th inning for Andres Briseño. It's his 10th save of the year. The Blue Crabs tie a franchise record for the most wins in a season as they pick up their 82nd win of the year in a 7-4 victory over Long Island. Blue Crabs bats were hot early. They went cold late, but the bullpen was there to pick them up as the Southern Maryland Blue Crabs bullpen allowed 1 hit across 3 1/3. It was an infield single surrendered by Patrick Baker. They did walk a batter as Dykstra surrendered a walk, but that was it. 1 hit and 1 walk was all the bullpen allowed across the final 3 1/3 in the Blue Crabs 7-4 victory. Let's run through the box score, and then we'll send you on your way on the Hometown Real Estate Broadcast Network. Let's start with the Blue Crabs batters. It was Sundberg who was 1 for 5 with an RBI. Wolanski 2 for 3. He had a run scored. He also walked twice. Walker 2 for 5 with an RBI. Harris 3 for 4 with an RBI. DeLuca 1 for 4 with a run score. Zach Collier was 1 for 4 with an RBI. Torino was 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run scored. Haug 1 for 4, an RBI, a run scored, and Michael Baca 1 for 4 with an RBI tonight. Alex Merritt, who gets the win, had a bit of a tough outing though. 5 2/3 innings, 8 hits, 4 runs, all 4 earned. He walked 3, he struck out 2. Connor Law went the final 1/3 of the inning in the 6th. He struck out the lone batter he faced. Patrick Baker went an inning of work, allowed an infield single. He struck out 1. James Dykstra, an inning of work. He walked a batter. He struck out a pair. And Andres Briseño picks up his 10th save while also striking out a batter. Let's go through your scoring plays tonight. Blue Crabs got all of them back in the first, or almost all of them in the first. Jared Walker hit a solo home run with 2 outs. From there, it was Zach Collier who doubled in. David Harris put DeLuca on third, so second and third with 2 outs. It was Santiago Chirino who singled in to right, made it a 3-0 game. Ryan Haug singled to right, that made it 5-0 as it scored both Chirino, and then Jack Sundberg singled to left center. That brought in Ryan Haug. And the Blue Crabs had a 6-0 lead. Wolanski would single from there, but it was Haug thrown out at the plate. Baca stumbled on his way around third base. Alejandro De Aza made it 6-1 in the bottom of the first, but the Blue Crabs made it 7-1 when David Harris singled to center field to drive in Michael Wolanski. Alejandro De Aza was walked. That brought in a run on a wild pitch from Alex Merritt. LJ Mazzilli then singled later in the inning, scoring Trevor Rockenbach to make it a 7-3 ball game. In the bottom of the 6th, it was Joe DiCarlo who went deep to left for a solo home run. That would be it, though, as the Blue Crabs bullpen shut the door from there in the 7-4 victory. Blue Crabs 7 runs on 14 hits for the Ducks, 4 runs on 9 hits. The Blue Crabs turn to Darryl Thompson tomorrow as they look to break the franchise record for the most wins in a season. Have a terrific evening, everybody. The Blue Crabs winners 7-4 tonight. We'll see you tomorrow night at 6:35 p.m. We finish, as always, with the same 4 words. Let's go, Blue Crabs.